this. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam she'akol ni b'dvarei. Oh, here's the copies. Let's give it out over there. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Welcome. Tonight's class, we're going to learn a mimer. This week is Parsha Shoftim. Oops, I got the wrong chumash. We're going to learn a mimer in Parshas Seitzei. Because everybody knows that Parshas Shoftim is the only parsha in the Chassidic parsha, in the parshios of the Kuti Torah, that doesn't have a mimer. Very strange. The Rebbe talks about it. The only parsha from all the 53 parshias in the Torah that in Sefer Torah or in Kuti Torah there is not even one mimer is Parsha Shoftim. So, Azayadas, there isn't a mimer in Parsha Shoftim. Not that there isn't memorim of the Alter Rebbe. Not that there isn't any memorim of the Alter Rebbe on Parsha Shoftim. There is. But for whatever reason, the Tzemach Tzedek did not put them into Likutei Torah. And I doubt it's because the people were in the bungalow colony. There was vacation, August, that time. I doubt that's the reason. I don't know the reason, but there's nothing on Shoftim. Well, last year we learned a mimer, if you remember, about the witnesses, Biur Azoyar. We learned a fascinating mimer on Parsha Shoftim, so there's really Gishmak Memorim. But what we're going to do is, being that next week I'm not going to be here, Thursday night, so we're going to learn a mimer from next week's Parsha, Seitzei, Parshas Seitzei. And with this, we're going to conclude all the memorim on the Likutei Torah on Parshas Seitzei. Not all of them. We're beginning to conclude certain parshias that we don't have any more memorim to learn, because we taught them already. The thing is that the only thing that hurts me and bothers me is that a lot of the recordings got lost. And even though I have a dot in the beginning that I've taught it, I don't necessarily have the recording, and it's not online. So first of all, there's a lot of recordings that are recorded but never got online. That's number one. Number two, and then there are a lot of them that are missing. I don't know where they are. So but I still am an action. Action means stubborn. And I'm not going to teach a mimer a second time until I first finish all the memorim. Then I'm going to go back and start teaching the ones that we taught already that we don't have a recording. Okay, so now we're going to do the last mimer in Parshas Seitzei. So tonight's class, I want to dedicate it in honor of the upcoming wedding of my daughter. So I want to dedicate the mimer to Yiti. This is for her zechus and for her chassan Machol Yehuda Arya Leib Ben Acham Medina and Yitta Bas from it. Both of them should have the most beautiful, wonderful marriage, happiness, good health, and may they create a beautiful family, a binyan adayad, and a beautiful, beautiful home, healthy children. Bring a lot of nachas to the whole world, to us, to everyone. Sure, they'll be great. Be'ezus Hashem. So this is for their dedication. That's why we're not going to have the class next week, because I'm not going to be here. But let's learn the Maayon on Parshas Ki Seitzei. Now that I've made the dedication, now on to the confession. Confession is I didn't prepare this. Got a little overwhelmed today, and I didn't prepare. So I just I glazed over it. Now, I hope that the Maayon will light up for us, like it has done so many times that I didn't prepare. That's good. You missed the dedication. The whole dedication was Yozchus. So, now the Maayon itself, we learned a couple of years ago, and I forgot it. It's recorded. I learned it. I taught it, so hopefully it is somewhere in my memory. I looked over it very quickly. That's the Maayon. Then there is the Biur on the Maayon. And as I explained many times, the Biur is usually a little more complicated than the Maayon itself, because the Biur explores the Seitzei of the Maayon, the foundation of the Maayon, al pi Kabbalah. So the Biur has, the explanation has far more Kabbalistic terminology and Kabbalistic ideas than the Maayon itself. So we're going to learn the Maayon, which is explanation on, we're going to learn the Biur, which is explanation on the Maayon. And the Eibishter will help that we're going to get, the main thing in a Maayon is that the godliness of the Maayon has to light up. That's what has to happen. You can learn and learn and learn, but if the Eibishter doesn't reveal himself to you through the Maayon, what's to overlearn? And if it's dependent on that, so God can reveal himself even with less preparation. So we hope the Eibishter will reveal himself. And I have to admit something else, that last week I also didn't prepare enough, or last week I did prepare, but last week I didn't understand the Maayon. The Maayon was very difficult, and even with preparation I didn't understand it. But the quality I had last week was that when I davened mincha, I davened a sincere prayer and really asked the Eibishter to please have mercy on me and illuminate the Maayon. And Baruch Hashem, the Maayon became so illuminated. There was such light here last week. It was beautiful. If you want to listen to the Maayon, it's Biur Ani L'Doidi. That happened last week. This week, I didn't even daven, because when I davened mincha, my head was spacing everywhere, and I didn't even know that I said Atachonin L'Adam Das. So as a result of that, I didn't even pray. So if this Maayon works out, it has nothing to do with me. No preparation, no prayer. It's only in the merit of Ne'ima, only in her merit. Okay, very good. So let's learn. I will give you an introduction on the Maayon, now that we've finished all the confessions. The introduction is that I can tell you the skeleton, the gist, the build on the Maayon. The pasuk says that next week's parasha, it says that you should reject the family of Moab. Don't allow them to marry your children. If any of the Moabite families want to convert, they could convert, they can become Jews, but they still cannot marry a Jewish girl. They could convert, but they can't, even after their conversion, they can't marry a Jewish girl. They can only marry another convert, but they can't marry a Jewish girl born Jewish. And the reason for that is because God has a resentment against Moab because of what they did in the desert. Instead of coming out to greet you and treat you like cousins, they are your cousins. They're the children of Lot. They're the cousins of the Jewish people. So instead of coming out to greet us, when we passed by their land, they came out with, they hired the Bilam and tried to curse the Jewish people, and by that bring unrepairable damage. So the Eibishter says they hired Bilam. And in those verses it says that even though they had a wicked attempt, Hashem did not allow their wicked attempt to be realized, because Hashem didn't, it's a pasuk says like this, V'lo ya'ava Hashem Elokecha l'shmaya el Bilam. God didn't want to listen to Bilam. Hashem didn't desire to listen to Bilam. He didn't want to listen. And instead, Vayahafech Hashem Elokecha es haklola lebracha. God converted the curse, He transformed the curse into a blessing. Why? Ki ehevcha Hashem Elokecha, because God loves you. So the pasuk, it's one of the unique times in the Torah where there's such a powerful expression, where the Torah says, God loves you. God is just madly in love with you. The pasuk says, Ki ehevcha Hashem Elokecha, the Eibishter loves you. He didn't want to listen to Bilam. That's the pasuk. So the Alter Rebbe is explaining the deeper meaning of this idea that the Eibishter doesn't even want to listen. In the Mimer, which he doesn't explain today in the explanation, but in the Mimer, the Alter Rebbe explains what's Bilam. Bilam is a master at pointing out faults. Bilam knew how to expose all the faults in people. He had a very wicked eye, and he saw the negative. He wasn't a liar. He said the truth. But he was able to uncover any type of negativity in any person. That was his. If Moshe Rabbeinu or Aaron HaKohen can find a tiny little bit of good in anybody, and they had such a knack of being able to find the good, Bilam was able to find the falseness, any kind of a thing. He was an expert of an accuser. And he wanted to expose the true faults of the Jewish people. And it's very, very dangerous. That's why Bilam was so dangerous. Because he was going to bring forth and show God how distasteful the Jewish people are. So the pasuk says, it doesn't say that God refused Bilam or didn't accept it. It says God didn't want to listen to him. That's the beautiful thing. I mean, Hashem didn't even give him a chance. He didn't even give him his ear. That's the point. Because if he would have started an argument, Bilam would have won the argument. You hear that? Bilam would have won the argument, and he would have been able to expose the sins of Israel. But God didn't even want to listen. They didn't even listen to him. And that's what we want the Eibishter should be like on every Rosh Hashanah. That when the satanic forces, when the Satan and his people come to bring and to expose faults on the Jewish people, Hashem doesn't even listen to him. Get out of here. You want to speak negative, and the pasuk says, because I love you so much. So the Alter Rebbe is going to explain that this love that we're talking about is a very, very, very high level of love. That God loves us and that we love Hashem. And the Alter Rebbe is going to explain that there's two levels in our relationship with God. Both of them are godly. Two levels of a godly relationship. They're not human, they're godly. But in the godly itself, there is the more chitzoniistic connection and the more pneumistic connection. What do we mean by that? We know that the Jewish people are kichelek Hashem amoy, that Yidden are a godly people. They are a piece of God. Every single Jew has a little piece of the Yud-Kei Vav-Kei of the Tetragrammaton in his neshama. We're all taken from the Eibishter. So therefore, when a Jew develops himself spiritually, when a Jew does spiritual exercises every day through Torah study and mitzvah observance, or deeper through meditation, or deeper through a bittul, a complete surrender to God that transcends all reason and logic, the Jew reveals within himself his neshama and his Yud Kei Vav Kei that's within him. The Yud, the Hey, the Vav, and the Hey of the neshama. And through that, the Jew connects to the Yud Kei Vav Kei, to the Eibishter Yud Kei Vav Kei. Not only that, as the way the Alter Rebbe explains, but we actually create God's Yud Kei Vav Kei. Through activating our Yud Kei Vav Kei, we generate every day new energy in the Eibishter Yud Kei Vav Kei. So all the godly channels the way Hashem manifests his energy to create and sustain all of creation, is all a direct consequence of our avodah. When we emanate within ourselves these qualities, these godly qualities of Yud Kei Vav Kei, and we live godly lives, we cause the Eibishter's Yud Kei Vav Kei every day to be refreshed. And we bring about an attachment of the Eibishter from a very deep place. God is engaged and involved. But the Alter Rebbe says that's the avodah of tzaddikim. But then there is a much higher avodah, and that's the avodah of Baalei Tshuva. The avodah of a Baalei Tshuva also create a Yud Kei Vav Kei, also generate Yud Kei Vav Kei. But the Yud Kei Vav Kei of the Baalei Tshuva is a far more inner Yud Kei Vav Kei, or Yud Kei Vav Kei that's etched in God's essence himself. The Yud Kei Vav Kei that tzaddikim are engaged in activating and generating and in projecting as a result of their Torah and mitzvahs and general normative observance of Torah and mitzvahs and Yiddishkeit, when we're doing it with all our heart and all our soul, with love, with passion, but still, it's not with the intensity of the Baal Tshuva, then we bring forth the Yud Kei Vav Kei that represents the entire godly scheme of sfirot, of attributes. We generate the attributes of Atzilus, Hashem's personality. But we know that that Hashem's personality is still the way he's projecting himself outward. But then there is the Yud Kei Vav Kei as it is etched in Hashem's essence in a much, much deeper place. It's the root of the manifest Yud Kei Vav Kei. That deeper Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is in Keser, which is higher than Sfiros, higher than attributes. It's almost like carved out in God's essence. Like the letters of the Luchos versus the letters of the Torah, which are written letters, but these are carved out letters. In order to expose that Yud Kei Vav Kei, to unearth it, to reveal it, requires a much, much deeper avodah. And that depth is revealed only in a person who's running away from darkness. Only in a person who is who's been in hell. Only in a person who's been in real kalipa has that intensity in his service that when he cries, he's bearing his very being to God. So him, Yiddishkeit is not a style, it's not a way of life. At this moment, to him, Yiddishkeit is his bare bones. And that's that Jew. And when a Jew reveals, that's the Baal Tshuva of every Jew, an Elul, and so on and so forth, it can only come from a place of darkness. And when we do that, we uncover a much deeper Yud Kei Vav Kei. And from that Yud Kei Vav Kei, it brings kapara on all the sins. And that's the idea, this is the real attachment of Hashem and the Jewish people. On a much more essential place, on a much more essential level. That's the meaning, ki ehevcha Hashem Elokecha. That God loves you on that level, or that God empowers you to love him on a level that's your essence, and a level that's much higher than reason and explanation. And it's something that is given to you as a gift from above. And from that level, Hashem takes all the curses, which means all the sins, and converts them to blessings. You should know that this theme we learned last week in the Maayon as well. Last week in the Maayon we learned that the Eibishter has to feed us with roses during the month of Elul. Hashem has to nurture our soul with a special nutrition, with roses. Because during the month of Elul, we have to go much higher and to repipe the entire system, because the old piping got rusty. Every year, the piping of Torah and mitzvahs, the channels get rusty. So we need to do a whole repiping. All year long, we're working with existing piping. Just a matter of turning on the faucet. Every time you do a mitzvah, you turn it on, you shut it. But during the month of Elul, we have to repipe the entire system. Because God lost his interest in our Torah and mitzvahs if our observance was a little sloppy or negligent or not the way it should be. So it's like parents that will tell their children, Moichel Toivus, I don't need you to do it anymore. Everybody had a time when your parents told you that? I asked you 5 times. You told me. They say, yeah, I don't need it anymore. Moichel Toivus. I'll do it myself. So when Chas v'Shalom God says that, I'll do it myself, I don't need you to do it anymore, that means the channel isn't open anymore. It dried up. So we have to like make him desire again the mitzvahs. We have to open up a whole new level. That can only come from this inner Yud Kei Vav Kei, from the place of essence. So we have to elevate the entire relationship to a level of essence, to an 11 of expression. And this idea is what the Alter Rebbe is going to explain over here, the two Yud Kei Vav Keis. The Yud Kei, you read the first half of the Maayon, you're like, wow, we can do all of that? And then you learn the second half of the Maayon, and the Alter Rebbe says, well, we can do much deeper and much higher than that, because that's the ordinary service of a Jew. But the month of Elul and Tishrei, Mimamakim, it goes to a whole new level. So I feel that the Maimer we learned this week and the Maimer that we learned last week, in many ways, are interlooped. Okay. Biur v'loyava. Lahav in Shirish Advarim, to understand the root of the inyanim that we discussed in the Maimer. So what we're going to do is the Alter Rebbe is going to develop the Yud Kei Vav Kei, what it means above, and what it means in our neshama, and how in each avodah that we do generates, we create, we bring about, we create reality. And I'm going to explain this just in one thing. There are a lot of people that are sitting and waiting for Mashiach. And they say, oh, Mashiach should come, Mashiach should come. The Abbot said, Mashiach should come, let Mashiach come. Everybody's waiting. We want Mashiach. And there's a very, very, very big dilemma. One thing, Mashiach is not going to do anything. It's nice. Hoping the Abbot is going to do. We have to make Mashiach. We create reality. We have to make it. And the only way we're going to make it is if we learn about it and we start living it. That's how we make that reality. The Abbot is not going to do it. That's what the Rebbe told us. He says, you have to start living it. You have to create. It's here already. Now it just has to, the juice has to come in. The whole the whole soul of Mashiach has to enter creation. We're the soul of the world. You have to make it happen. Here the Alter Rebbe is talking about the whole Havaya, the whole godly presence in the world that enlivens the cosmos and gives. You make it happen. You in your own neshama, you in your own life. You're the entire cosmos. You're in the entire existence. So you have the potential within you of Yud Kei Vav Kei. And when you actualize that godly self, it actualizes it on the highest, deepest, most transcendental places in all of existence. And it's amazing how the Eibishter has given so much responsibility to such shlamazlach like us. So we wake up in the morning, instead of doing Yud Kei Vav Kei, we're thinking cheese omelet. And that's what occupies our mind, the endless. The whole system is waiting for you. Start, get to work. First start with your kutzei shel yud, then get to your yud, then get to your hey, then get to your vav, then get to hey. The cheese omelet can wait. Believe me, it'll be a much better cheese omelet if you first generate all the energy in the cosmos from Yud Kei Vav Kei. You'll get there in a few hours. But we're kratzers. Okay, now that we got the cheese omelet out of the way, not expecting, we actually have cholent and kugel, no cheese omelet tonight. I just had to clear that. Now we're ready. The koitzai shel yud. So we start, when you look at the Yud Kei Vav Kei, it starts with a tiny little pointer, tiny little indicator on top of the yud. That's the kutzei shel yud. Roimez lekeser. That is a remez that is indicating keser. What does it mean it's a remez? Keser doesn't have any form. Keser cannot even describe as a dot. Chachma is an akuda, is a point. Keser, no, is the Eibishter as he is in a complete, unformed, undesigned, beyond all personality, beyond all definition. So you can't describe it in anything. The only thing you can do is if you're sitting in Chachma, in the world of Chachma, you can point up and say there's something that precedes this level. What it is, I don't know. That's the idea of why this pointer is roimes. It's indicating Keser. It's not capturing Keser. The image, the ink, the style, the letter is not defining it. It's just saying there's something higher that has no form. Roim is lekeser. And here's the beautiful thing. This is where Chassidus is so much richer than Kabbalah. Why? Kabbalah says that on top of the Yud, there is the Arizal says on the top of the Yud, there is a pointer that's pointing to Keser. And the Holy Baal Shem Tov says, Keser, that point that the Yud is pointing to, that's in your heart. That's the deepest point of your heart, in your soul. That's your love that you have to God. That's your deepest point of connection to the Eibishter that you can't either describe. That's the indescribable beauty, or not even beauty, the indescribable essence of a Jew. That's what it is. And every Jew has it. The simple Jew has it in his simplicity, and that which cannot be described in anything. See, that's Chassidus. Roim is lekeser, nice keser, but Chassidus says, Shu'ava mesuteres shebelev kol Yisroel. That's the concealed, essential love that every Jew has. That doesn't have any description, doesn't have any, it's just one with Hashem. V'hainu, and the reason why, mipnei, she nilkacha mamakom gavoya ma'oid. Because it's coming from such a high place, it's not something that is earned. Things that come from lower places, you can earn it. You can develop it. But something that's from so high, it's not shaykh for anybody to earn it. It's just there, at the nekuda of every yid. It's the gift from God from above that the Eibishter gave you His very self. Put up. It's from a very high place. Lakachu b'chol Yisroel. That's why it's in every single Jew. There's no one that doesn't have this, and there isn't a Jew that has it more than anybody else. Some people reveal it more. By some people it's more concealed. But every single neshama has that nekuda. That's your nekuda of being a Jew. So when we say a pinta leyid, that every Jew there is a pinta leyid, the pintala is not it. This is higher than the pintala. The pintala is already the second level. Is already chokhmah. It's a more external level. This is deeper than any description, any form, anything we can say. We just can't say anything about it. It just is. Shehi, as he says, where is it coming from? It's Malchus de Ein Sof. It's coming from the Malchus of Ein Sof, which basically in latter days Chassidus, it would have been the term. This is coming from Atzmos himself, from the very, very Eibishter himself. Shehu b'pchenas atzmiyus de Ein Sof. It's the essence of the Ein Sof, not the expression of the Ein Sof, the essence of the Ein Sof. The Einoi begeder hasaga. It doesn't have any hasaga. There's no way to understand it, to give it definition, to explain it. What is the essence of a Jew's neshama? Just like we can't explain what Keser is, we can't explain what the Jew's neshama is. It's just a. And that's why it's there in the heart of every Jew. Because it's not. See, if it would be a love that has some kind of a reason for the love, some kind of an explanation, some kind of I love because. If there is something there that's causing a because of, some kind of an explanation, a logic, some kind of a reason, some kind of whenever you love something, there's got to be a reason why you're loving. So if there would be some kind of an explanation why you love, then it wouldn't be by all Jews. It would be by the people that have more reasoning and more explanation and more understanding. It would be more, and by less understanding it would be less, to the point that someone that doesn't understand anything about being Jewish wouldn't have it. The fact that every Jew, no matter where, what, and when, even though if someone didn't know he's Jewish and he grew up in a Gentile home, all of his education was either atheist or different religion, or whatever it is, that even that Jew has this same nekuda is because even someone who doesn't have an understanding of his seichel and his bina and his, it's there by everybody because it's independent of anything. Chen kutzei shel yud hu b'chinas remez bilvad. It's a remez, because if it wouldn't be a remez, which means it would be expressing. If it's not a remez, it means it's expressing, it's capturing. That would mean that this energy, this force, whatever you want to call it, this force, this life force, this power, has a certain tziyur. That's why you have a certain, you can, if you want to just express it in a physical form, you're creating the ink that's indicating moving to the right or to the left or a circle or a this or a that. This is completely formless. And therefore it says it's a remez b'vad, sharoim is la'ein sof b'vad. It's remez to the ein sof, beremez ba'alma, only a remez, b'li shum tfisa. You can't grasp it at all. Ki leis machshava tfisa be'klal. There's no thought that grasps him at all. And that's the nekuda of connection between the Jew and the Eibishter. An undefinable. And that's why we embrace every Jew. That's why it doesn't make a difference how evil and how wicked someone is. We never write him off. There's always Erdachfar Tayyid. He's still a Jew. No matter, it doesn't make a difference. Why? It's on this. There isn't a nekuda. Go through his entire being. Go through his entire life and look for him for one mitzvah. Look for one soft something. Look for one tenuah, one thought in his entire life that's a little godly. That's not crude and vulgar and lowly and mean and horrible. Can't find it. So, and what are you going to be told that? And what's his Jewishness? What? The answer is, it's not his thoughts, it's not his understanding, it's on a place much deeper. It's essence, not something he will ever feel. It just is. And what the Alter Rebbe describes it as a love, because at that point it's just attached. It's just one. I guess we call this Yechidah Shebenefesh. It's the Yechidah. Ela b're'usa deliba. There's no thought that can grasp it. But it doesn't mean you can't feel it. You could feel it. Not necessarily that you do feel it, but you could feel it. And when you feel it, I guess the feeling of it is very minimal, but the feeling of it is only b're'usa deliba. It's a longing of the heart. It's a longing. If it expresses itself, that means it doesn't express itself in the moyach. It doesn't express itself in reason and logic and understanding, but it's based on what it says in the Zohar. The Zohar says, Leis machshava tfisa bein, no thought can grasp God himself. Thoughts can grasp the sphirot, the attributes, the manifestations of the Eibishter. Thoughts can grasp God himself, but it doesn't mean that God is not graspable. It doesn't mean that you can't connect him. You could attach yourself and grasp him. It's very nitfas. The Eibishter does get captured. In what? In the longing of the heart. Because this longing longs for God's essence. But even this, what am I saying? L'chura, the experience of longing is the external manifestation of the essence of this that's not even experienced as anything. It just is. L'chura, we have to say that. El b're'usa deliba, the longing of the heart, mikerev ish, from a very deep place, v'leiv amok, and from a very deep heart. I am asher kasev v'ramaschol v'yeshev Yaakov. Look at the Maimer in Torah Or, v'yeshev Yaakov, where this is discussed. Good, that's the kutzai shel yud. V'yud, then what's the yud? Ubchenas chachma. The yud is already the next stage. That's the level of chachma. What's chachma? Ki chachma reishes gilui ha'asaga v'havana. Chachma is already a nakuda. It's already a point. When you make a point on a paper, when you take a little ink, right? And you make a point on the paper, make a dot, you started already. You started the painting. An artist sits down, takes the quill, puts it in, makes a dot. Before the dot, you didn't start yet. How's the garnished? You make the dot, the beginning of the tzir is here. It can go in so many directions. You can make a happy face, a sad face, a girl, a boy, a young person, an old person, a skinny person, a fat person, this kind of person, that kind of. You can make tall, short. You can make every kind, this color, that color, every kind of. Yeah, but you have already a nakuda. You have already the beginning. Nakuda. So Ki chachma reishes giluy hasaga v'avana. Chachma is already the beginning of hasaga. Something is already becoming revealed. Something is becoming. Shebebchinas bina. That's later. That in the bina of the soul is where you have the capacity to appreciate, understand godly ideas. You have an appreciation, comprehension, and understanding. Before that, there is a flash. Oy Eibishter, you're Machaya, you enliven, you're the power, you're the power. Later I'm going to figure out what the Eibishter is the power of, how he is the power, how without him everything is null and void and not and would just wither away like an altar dead thing, or maybe it wouldn't even wither because there's nothing to wither without the Eibishter. Whatever it is, that's already detail. That's already his boin and his contemplation. But there is a nakuda. The nakuda is God, your reality. Is that your kutzah shel yud, or is that your yud? That's your yud. That's not your kutzah shel. Your kutzah shel yud is excited about God, not because the Eibishter is power. He has a nakuda. He has something to grasp on about God. It's just nimshach. It's just being pulled. There's no definition to explain it, why, what, where, and when. There's no hasa. It's just, in Chachma, it's already the beginning of a giloy. It's the beginning of an idea. That's why it's expressed as a dot, which is the beginning of an image, or it's the beginning of a letter. Giloy hasaga v'avana shebebchinas bina, v'amshaches hachachma shebebchinas bina, and drawing down this chachma, and then later using this as a point of reference to build an entire infrastructure of understanding. Nikra nekuda behechala is called the dot, the point, the center point in the hechal, in the chamber. Ella. Sha'achachma bebchinas helen. When it's still in the stage of chachma, it's still in a very concealed, benign state. Bebchinas barak hamavrik. It's like a flash. It's a quick flash. It's just a, I don't know. It's concealed. But I saw light. I know there's something there. I have a what you call it? I have a certain, not a reference. What would be the word? I have a certain backdrop from what to work with. I have a certain like rayon. So that's a barak hamavrik. B'moyach, it's a flash. V'habina, and then the next stage of the soul is the power of bina. And the bina is already connected to the letter hey. Because what is that? Hasaga ba'oirech b'roichev. It's an understanding in length and in breadth. You understand something. You understand this idea, how it applies on many levels. That's the long part of the hey. How it applies in many, many levels. You'll have the width of it, you know all the details of it, and so on and so forth. Now, in order for this giloy, obviously, if God himself is leis machshava tfisa bei, there's no thought that can grasp it. So then why are we even using chachma and bina? It's like yudel. If I want to understand, finite things, if I want to understand and appreciate, chickens and eggs, I can use my chachma. I can know first an idea of a chicken, then I can understand and appreciate the biology and the ganze maisa, how the chicken with the eggs and all the situation. So I can get that bina and that whole thing. But when you're dealing with a being that has no definition, so why are you using your chachma? The answer is that the Eibishter himself channels himself down, manifests his energy and himself into a state of being able to know him. That's when God kind of projects himself with a certain personality. And then you can know him in your chachma. You can know him as what? You can know God as a compassionate being. You can know God as a creator. You can know God as a father. You can know God as a king. You can know him as a judge. You can know him as a compassionate shepherd. You can know him as so many different ways. It's each way the way the Eibishter is manifesting himself. So he's saying like this. And parallel to that, our koiches hanefesh work. So when we're using our chachma to get an idea, a flash about something about God, it's relating to the Eibishter shining his light into chachma. God already emanating himself into a certain idea. Higher than that, the Eibishter is not in any idea. So with your chachma, you're connecting to the Eibishter's chachma. So he says, in order that there should be a giloy even of chachma, even the supernal chachma, even for God to reveal himself, even just as a flash of an idea, of a general idea, from beyond where the Eibishter has no even vague description, where God is utterly descriptionless, in order to come down from the world of beyond description into even the most benign little description of Chachma, even that just Nakuda, is an infinite drop, and requires a powerful tzimtzum, meaning the Eibishter has to hide his true, infinite, undefinable self, and only shine through a little keyhole, so to speak. Hagam shezer nemar ala keser. Now, even though he says this idea of seichel, he's referring to chachma as seichel hanelam, a concealed state of seichel. So even though he says generally that's referred to as keser is considered seichel hanelam mikol raya, and it's still hidden from any understanding. Mekomokim gama chachma, even chachma compared to bina, who bebchenas ha-seichel hanelam, is also still considered concealed seichel, mikol raya, stated in the Maayon of Lech Lecha. Kihine, because he explains, what does that mean? The truth is, he says like this: Bichlal, even bina, which is really godly understanding, he says you have to realize, even bina, which is the Eibishter is coming down to a state that you can mamish know him, so it's real chachma. He says, what are you kidding? Are you crazy? When the Eibishter is coming down as Firas Abina, you can know him. The ability of seichel, human intellect, or even any kind of intelligence, even intelligence of angels, even the brains of brains, the super minds of the spiritual beings of the supernal world, have zero comprehension in the world of Atzilus, at any level of Atzilus, even of Malchus of Atzilus. Zero comprehension. All comprehension starts from the Eibishter's seichel, God as he contracts his wisdom and his knowledge to become creation-like knowledge. Once the spheros emerge, sphera after sphera, and we conclude the world of Atzilus, which is godly, and we enter into the world of Bria, which means the spheros of Bria, that's where Seichel begins, Seichel Anushi, which means our ability even to probe and understand and get any ideas in godliness. So, the Seichel of Eibishter, as it is in Atzilus, is purely godly, and we have zero knowledge in it. The reason why we call it then Seichel, why do we even talk about it? Why do we even have so many memorim talking about it? The answer is, it has a resemblance to Seichel. The reason it has a resemblance to Seichel, because it's the source of intellect. These are powers that are the source of intelligence. But it's not intelligence in any way, shape, and form that we can even relate to. It's not even the same type of intelligence where we say, we understand, and then there is a higher understanding. That's so ridiculous. It's so insane, the Alter Rebbe says. It's not. It's only one thing. Intelligence comes from there. And because it comes from there, you can already ascribe to it the ideas of Chachma and Bina, but not in any way you know. So if that's true about the entire world of Atzilus, how much more so when we're coming to Chachma, which is hidden even from Bina of Atzilus? It's just a nakuda. How much more is that utterly considered Seichel Hanelam? It's complete Seichel that is hidden Mikol Raya. That's what I seems like he's saying. So let's see. Kihine, for behold, Mebriya ulamata, from the world of Bria and onward, Ubchenas gilui achachma. That's where you have gilui of chachma. At shebo lechlal gilui b'seichel v'asagis hanevroim. There too it has to drop many times. But on that level, it at least has taken this quantum descent, this tremendous transformation from being godly to entering into creation-like. But even then, it's the Eibishter's mind as becoming creation-like. So there too, it has to go through tzimtzumim, but eventually it drops down that creations can actually get it and understand it. Malachim, and even then, it's not us down here. It's malachim and neshamis and souls. And because we are neshamis in bodies, so we still have neshama, so we can also have epis and epis and epis. Epis a shaykhis, some kind of a clue. Avo ba'atzilus, but in the world of atzilus, ulamaylam atzilus, and in the worlds higher than atzilus. What the Alter Rebbe is doing over here, I think, just in some level, is that for those who learn a lot of Chassidus, sometimes it becomes like, atzilus, let's talk something higher. Like atzilus, we've gotten so like atzilus, we've gotten so accustomed to atzilus, like, you're talking about madreges shlifnei atzimtzum. So the Alter Rebbe says we have no clue in atzilus, nothing. So therefore, avo b'atzilus, ulamaylo ma'atzilus, and definitely beyond atzilus, lo shayach shem chachma klal. It's not shayach even to call it chachma. Rak makom makom u'makar lechachma. It's a source to chachma. V'zeu inyan chakim v'loi b'chachma yediyah. That's why it's called chakim, but it's not with a knowable chachma, because it's a source of chachma. That's it. It's not a knowable chachma. As it says in the Maimer, Pasach Elio. See how many what we had already? We had Parshas Vayeshev a Maimer. We had Parshas Lech Lecha, and now we have Parshas Vayera, Pasach Elio. So just in a little bit over here, the Alter Rebbe is warming up for us for Bereshis. All the Maimarim and Bereshis, or you can look to get all these ideas. Now, in order for there to be a giloi of this chachma, which chachma is he referring to? Chachma v'atzilus, notwithstanding the fact of how lofty chachma v'atzilus is. That, as we said now, it can't even be called chachma. All we can say about it is that it's a makar for chachma, a source for chachma, it's a source for wisdom. Notwithstanding it being so lofty and so high, in order for that to emerge from the Eibishter, who's not a source for anything, from God who is utterly, utterly undefined, who al yedei kama b'chinas tzimtzumim, that itself needs many different types of contractions. Va'afilu, and to take that even further, kildei liyos b'chinas chachma stima. What's chachma stima? We're talking about chachma of atzilus. Chachma as it's one of the spheroids, and we're saying that in order for that chachma to emerge, it needs to go through many tzimtzumim. So the Rebbe is saying, not only here, even the chachma on a much higher place, chachma as it's part of keser. Chachma stima means chachma in erech anpin. The chachma of erech anpin is called chachma stima. Erech anpin is in keser. So even the chachma stima, the concealed chachma, which is light years and light years away of chachma of atzilus, even for that to emerge needs tremendous tzimtzumim, like he explains. Why they tzimtzum? That too is through a tzimtzum. Dahainu, shebchinas gevura da atik yoimen, the level of gevura, of atik yoimim, of pnimius hakesa, which is called Ancient of Days. It's the power of gevura, which is the power of tzimtzum. Basically, the power of tzimtzum, that atzmos, that the Eibishter himself has. That power, mislabish b'chachma stima, encloses itself in the chachma stima, and the concealed level of chachma, to allow for that chachma to happen. Gevura hu b'chinas tzimtzum. And the reason why we associate chachma stima with gevura, the atik yoimen, is because gevura is tzimtzum. Now, so now what we got is like this. So everybody follow along. sorry I don't have a map, and I don't have a whole thing, because if I made a map, you would actually think that you know what I'm talking about. And I would think that I know what I'm talking about. So we have to realize that we don't know nothing that we're talking about. Well, why are we talking about it? We're talking about it because we want to read these holy words. We want to read these holy words. Just to say these holy words, it's worth being alive, even if we have no clue what we're talking about. But in any case, let's go back. So we have Atik Yoimin, which is, let's say, the Eibishter himself. Gevura of Atik Yoimin is the powerful tzimtzum that allows for this mysterious level called Chachma Stima. It's Chachma in Keser. Now, in order from Chachma Stima to emerge the Chachma of Atzilus, which is the Yud that we spoke about before, which is the source of Chachma and Atzilus, which is only a makar, only a source for Chachma, but not in any way apprehensible, knowledgeable, not even in the same category. It's called Loi B'Chachma Yediyah. For this level of Chachma Stima to emerge as a Chachma, that's Yud, he's adding over here, She'animshach Misham B'Chachma D'Atzilus U'ayidei Tzimtzum Otzum. It's through a powerful Tzimtzum. She'nimshach V'yoyre Derech Sarois. In order for it to come from Keser to Chachma, the only way that can connect the both is through here. Umazalois, and what's called a mazel. Abba yoinek memazal haches. Abba, which is chachma. Yoinek, nurses, means it's receiving drip, drip, drip. From where? From the 8th mazel. Mazel are called the strands of hair. There are 13 mazalis. And the 8th mazel is where Chachma of Atzilus is deriving its energy from. And it's the mazel. Where are these mazalis coming from? It's mazel that are coming from Keser to Chachma. So what does it mean? Mashal HaSairis, why are we using such a physical example of hair? Obviously, we're not talking about hair. So why are we using this physical example of hair? Why use such a weird example? Because this exactly gives us a mashal and appreciation of how nothing and minuscule and how tiny and insignificant it is, the chachma compared to its source, the moyach stima. The regular chachma, why? Because what's the idea of a hair? What's the idea of a hair? We'd see that hair grows primarily on the head. Why does hair grow on the head? Because the head has a lot of energy. The head has a brain. In the brain, there's a lot of activity. The entire brain, this is the computer of the whole body, is the brain. What is the hair? Excessive energies of the brain that kind of ooze out. Too much energy, it leaks, it oozes. And it needs to find an outlet to breathe. So it goes through the tiny little pores in the skull, and some of that brain energy is released. And it goes into the hair. Right? It goes into the hair. So you would therefore say, I Baruch Hashem have a nice head of hair right now. Otherwise I'm going bald, but Baruch Hashem, now when I have long hair, it covers it up. For my daughter's wedding, Be'ez Hashem, I'm going to take a haircut. But I should be afraid that next week I won't be able to teach the mimer. Because if I cut off my hair, I'm going to lose so much of the mochen. So much of my mind is going to be lost. Because if my mind goes into my hair, cut off the hair, ouch. And the answer is I'm not going to lose anything by cutting off the hair. And the reason is because the minuscule, tiny little bit of energy from the mochen that goes into the brain is not really brain power. It's garnished. It's literally insignificant. So insignificant that any other part of the body that's connected to the brain, if you cut it, it hurts because it's connected. There's a lot of energy, it's attached. But the hair is so minuscule, so nothing that you can cut it, doesn't hurt. At a point, hair can fall out, you don't even know that you're missing it. Take a shower, you lost about 30, 40 pieces of hair, maybe 60. I don't know how many fall out. I don't know, you lost some hair when you're taking a shower. Does it make a difference? Do you feel any loss of power, loss of self? Because it's nothing, it's insignificant. So the Rebbe is saying, the entire channel that's going down into Chachma of Atzilus, which is becoming the power of Chachma for all intelligence, which after a gazillion and gazillion levels becomes the brain of God that creates the galaxies, and all the wisdom that there is in creation. Do you realize what kind of wisdom there is in one tree or in one eyeball? What kind of camera, zooming in, zooming out, processing information? What kind of incredible computers there are in every cell of the human body? This is all a gazillion times of the Eibishter's Chachma as it descends down into the physical world to create this entire operation. It's a garnished of a garnished of a garnished of a garnished through all the spiritual worlds, higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. Chachma Vasilus is the seed, which is still infinitely transcendental to this whole Chachma. And even that is only coming from a hair from Moyach Stima, showing you how insignificant the Rebbe is saying the entire Seder Ishtalshalos is. It's all garnished. Ki asayres yankim en amoichen sheberoiv al yedei shechoifeif al amoichen. And more than that, it's two in Yana. It's not only, see, the Rebbe wants to emphasize how small it is when the mochen of the head is going into one hair, right? It's so tiny, it's so minuscule. That's what he wants to bring out. But it's not enough. Because if I am to take water like this, and then go like this, make it to the tiniest little, and pour out a tiny drop. So the water that's coming, what is the erech of it to the water in the cup? Nothing. But it's still, I'm reducing this to a tiny amount, but it's still the same water reduced. The Rebbe says that's not with the hair. It's not being reduced to the tiniest amount. There's another nakud. There is a hefsek. There is a skull. In other words, the brain energy from the brain is not just a tiny little fraction of a fraction that's in your hair. So it's not like your hair are smart hair. They're just very little smart. It's smart hair. And you'll say that Albert Einstein's hair is Epis Kluger hair. It's smarter here than some, idiot's hair, right? It doesn't work that way. It's not, why? Because once it passes the physical skull, it stops being chachma. It becomes a whole new entity. That's the idea of it going through a hefsek. Hefsek means it came to a complete zero. It didn't go down to remain a little bit of what was. It first comes to a zero and something new. But what is new is taken from what was before. So you want to emphasize that whatever was became absolutely not, but there is still some kind of an energy passing. It's not and then a yeah. And when you have a no and then a yeah, the yeah that's coming afterwards is not even a little percentage, it's nothing. That's what we want to emphasize by saying that Chachma of Atzilus is taking through the hair, which is coming through the Gilgoiles. Gilgoiles is the hefsek, the bone, the skull that's blocking what was before. So, Umashal Asayeh, Shachoifef ala Moichen HaGilgolta, the Gilgoiles, which is the skull. Hamastiru Malam Esamoichen, that blocks and obscures the Moichen, V'derech HaGilgulta, and through the Gilgoiles, Tzoimchem Hasarois, come forth to here. Shehem ha'ora min ha'moichen, they're just a ray from the moichen. Ve'ein lam erech v'yuchas im ha'moichen, they don't have any erech and any comparison with the moichen at all. Rak ha'ora ba'alma, it's just a ray, but a very insignificant ray. Kach liyois mo'mayla ma'atzilos p'chenas atzilos, in order that they should emerge from beyond Atzilos, the world of Atzilos, ein ha'roich klal, there is no comparison at all. Atzilus is not even point 0.00000 whatever. It's not even that. Masha enkein machachma liyas bina. However, once you have the yud, once you have whatever the chachma is, once you have that nekuda, right, from chachma, and you're moving onward, the bina comes directly from chachma. You don't have that because the yud becomes the hey. And from bina as it evolves into midos, even though midos emotions are much weaker than the bina, than the understanding, and the understanding is much more reduced energy than that first flash. The potency of the first flash, the potency of the first flash is so much more powerful than the Bina. And the Bina energy is much stronger than the emotions. But there is still a gradual descent. One evolves from the other. You can see one coming from the other. Not so with Chachma coming from beyond Chachma. It's completely cut off. Who inyan derech v'seder ishtalshalos. From Chachma and onward is by the way of ishtalshalos. Sheyesh lehem yichus zem zeh. They have some kind of a yichus, some kind of a connection one with the other. Avol mamaylam and atzilos liyas atzilos. But from beyond atzilos, in order for it to be atzilos, it's only by means of an array, kedimyan cyrus arosh, like the hair of the head, hayoytze derech hagulgoyles hagulgulta, that goes through the gilgoles, hachoyfefes, that covers over or surrounds, umalemes umasteres, and obscures and hides. B'chinas yoshes choshech sisroi. The Eibishter shrouds himself in darkness. First, there is no giloy at all. There's just darkness. And then out of the darkness flash comes something totally new. Zehu, and this is the idea of Hashem Molach, in order for Hashem to be king. Which is really, over here he's learning it's not just Malchus. It's the entire Seder Ishtalshalos, from Chachma and onward, in order for Hashem Molach, for Hashem to be king, to emerge as a powerful ruler, as a king, as a source for creation. Geus Lavesh, he has to first enclothe himself, he has to dress himself. The dress covers him completely, and through that dress that covers him completely, he can emerge past that clothing, past that garment. It's like a lavush, like a garment that conceals and hides. And then what happens? As a result of the lavush, Geus, the Eibishter can then be this exalted ruler. Beyond this lavush, he's not shaykh any ruler. There's not shaykh any definitions on him, and a relationship to a creation, and that he's the power behind creation. Like this, the Eibishter is the ganze Knacker, That's called Geus. He's the whole power. He's like, that's the exaltedness. That's the praise of the Eibishter, Geus. But the whole Geus is only after a lavush. And take a look what he says. Geus is Gematria 410. The word Geus. Gimel Aleph. Vav is 10. And then Taf. So it's, and why? Because it's, the Zohar speaks about that there are 410 here. Taf Yud Nimen. There are 410 here. That means in the entire infant structure of the Eibishter's Malchus and kingship and everything, is only through the Nimen, only through these tiny little hairs, which is Gematria Geos. Nimshach Geos P'chinas Osiris, Ki Geos and Taf Yud Nimen, K'moshe Kosev Priyetz Chaim of Lakuti Torah. As stated in Priyetz Chaim and Lakuti Torah, he means Lakuti Torah of the Arizal. Or over there he explains this idea of Taf Yud Nimen. So this is all a description of how Chachma emerges up there. What does it have to do with me and you? The Rebbe says, guess what? Who makes that possible? That the Eibishter should squeeze himself through that tiny little hair follicle. Who makes that possible? Why would God even want to do that? Why does he want to even put on this garment that he has to hide him completely and present himself like someone completely other that he's really not? So why would he even do that? Especially since it's such a, I don't want to say distortion, but it's such a covering. It's such a concealment. It's like when God is going to reveal himself, we're all going to feel so ridiculously stupid. Now, like all of our imaginations of what he's like and what he is, and he's not going to be that at all. He's like, well, oh my. That's how ridiculous it is. So because he has to hide himself in a way that is so, and we have no idea how much our preconceived notions, even on our most purest day of like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, when we maybe have the purest, clearest mind, it's also with so many like ideas that are only real within this context. It's not really, he's totally something else. So so why would he do that? But yet this is the reality. It's not that it's not true. what we learn in Torah, the way we experience the Eibishter as a ruler and as a king and as a father and as a... These are all emes, but they're only emes after the tzimtzum and after this that he projects himself that way. But why would he even play this game? Why would he even do that? The answer is, you make it happen. You make it happen. I make it happen. We all have to make it happen. We have to go through a similar tzimtzum. Just like the Eibishter has that tzimtzum, we need to have that tzimtzum inside of us. And when we have that tzimtzum happening inside of us, we cause the Eibishter to abandon himself and present himself in a lavush. It requires a person to constantly override himself. That's what it is. The Rebbe says in order to get the Eibishter to do that, you got to be ready also to do the same thing. You're expecting God to step out of himself to allow you to exist. So do the same thing for God. Step out of yourself and make for the Eibishter. The Gilui of this Chachma is powerful tzimtzum, powerful din. Lamed Beis Elokim, that's why there are 30 times the word Elokim, the Uvda de Bereshis, in the work of creation. You turn over the page. Hemchenes Lamed Beis, and why? Lesivais Chachma. These are the 32 pathways of wisdom. Each pathway is another projection of this. It's another tzimtzum, and that's why it's hinted to not an Havaya, it's hinted to an Elokim, because it's Elokim is the name of tzimtzum. Shahachachma mischalekes l'lamed beis nesivos. Chachma gets divided into 32 pathways. The hem b'chinas tzimtzum, the helim, and these are the tzimtzumim and the concealments. Liyos giloyes pashtas. So after this powerful tzimtzum, the Eibishter can then be megala himself and expand memale as the power that infuses all of creation with life, fills the worlds, v'soivev, and even this that God encompasses the worlds is also after this tzimtzum of Chachma. In order for there to be any kind of hispashtus of the Eibishter to someone else, to some other idea, that cannot happen without a contraction. Because if not, if God does not have the filter, does not contract, does not have this powerful filter that we spoke about before, this powerful gilgoles, this powerful cutoff, if he would really expose who he really is, then it would only be him. Then everything would be canceled instantly. The worlds would not have any existence whatsoever, because reality is only him. So there wouldn't be anything. Why? Because we find that's boyaktana. So we find the Medrash tells us that one time Hashem was upset at the Malachim and he stuck out his pinky and he burnt them all. Imagine if Trump could do that. Take his pinky and burn him. So the Eibishter does stuck his pinky out and gets everybody. So what is that? What is the pinky? What is the pinky? Pinky means just the edge of the body, not even him, not himself, even just that. So this explains it means the gili of malchus a little bit more. The gam achshav, and even the Rebbe says like this. Here's the problem. Even today, presently, with all the tzimtzumim, I love this line over here. It just occurred to me now what the Alter Rebbe is saying. The truth is, even after God made all the concealments, we're still nothing in front of him. That means even after he lowers himself and covers and masquerades and we're still so fickle and nothing compared to him, to that creative, not to him before the tzimtzum. To him after the tzimtzum, we're nothing. The worlds are nothing. We're barely a something. V'gam achshav, even after he has concealed and blocked himself, kula kamei kalachshiv, all before him is not. Ella, the only difference is that today's day, since the Eibishter made the tzimtzum, so that allows us to have an existence to the degree that what? That we're not law, we're not nothing, we're killa like nothing. If without the tzimtzum, then it's nothing. Then there's literally nothing, only him. With the tzimtzum, we're like nothing. And another thing is, we're like nothing in the way he sees us. He sees us like nothing. He can't see us completely nothing, because then he wouldn't be in a relationship with anybody. So So, but we're like nothing. That's how lacking we have to our metzius. Even after all the tzimtzum, the Eibishter sees that every move you give and move of your body and every energy you do is really him. That's why maybe the Eibishter has to play this game such a long time, because he's like not even getting a thrill out of it, because he knows it's like, right? Maybe that's the reason why this is going on so long, why we can't have Mashiach yet, because it's like the game that the Eibishter is playing by hiding himself and giving us free choice and so on and so forth. When he wears his lenses, he sees that we're nothing. So really, everything we do and so on, it's really him. So it must get frustrating because he wants to get pleasure from us, but we're really him. So we're so kilachashiv. We're so not. Even after he hides his true self, we're so not. But the Rebbe says, on that level, it's only in front of him like we're not. But so much that Tzimtzum has accomplished that to ourselves, in our perception, we're very important and great and big machers and knackers. If there wouldn't be the Tzimtzum, two things would change. Number one, the nothingness would be in our consciousness, just like in his. It would be just outright, from head to toe, above and below, all nothing. Secondly, it wouldn't be like nothing, it would be truly nothing. So there wouldn't be even anybody to feel it other than it would just be nothing. So therefore the Eibishter, but the Rebbe is just proving this idea of how weak and fickle our existence is to begin with, even after the Tzimtzum, and so therefore we understand why it's a must to have a Tzimtzum. Even like this, we barely exist. El, as he says, the Gamachshav killa kamei kalachashiv, Ela shehu killa b'kaf adimyan v'av gam zois, and even this kamei dafka in front of the Eibishter we're not. V'lo yatzleinu, but in our perception, because at least God has made a Tzimtzum, it allows us to feel like we're something. But if there would have been the hispashtus of the Eibishter, belit tzimtzum v'helem, without a tzimtzum, without a concealment, mamish, then everything would be cancelled in God completely. Now what causes it and generates this tzimtzum? The Eibishter gave everything into our hands. We cause him to contract himself to create us. That's got to be one of the craziest ideas ever. We really don't exist. We can't exist until after he contracts himself and hides himself. But yet we're the ones who make him contract and hide himself. So how are we doing that if we don't even exist? That's the mystery. That's part of the paradox of this whole business. That despite the fact that we only exist after the tzimtzum, we're the ones who caused the tzimtzum. That's the mile of Nishmas Yisroel, or chelik of his essence, and that's why we can activate things pre-tzimtzum. Okay. This is all coming from the Yisroel from below. What Yisroel do we have to do? So just like what are we expecting from God? We're expecting that God, in order for our existence to be made possible, that he should step away from his truth and make believe we exist. Pretend himself to be a power, a specific power that's energizing a creation. And for that he has to kind of obscure, hide, cover the real emes. So we're asking him to really, really step away from himself, to go out of himself. So the Rebbe says it depends on that that you're willing to go out of yourself. You have a very deep ratzon. You want something to be the way you want it. You have that? You really want, and then you have to surrender your will. You surrender your will for God's will. You're hungry. You haven't eaten for hours. You're exhausted. You ran away from the city. You need to catch a flight. You ran away from the city before what's it called again? Before you had a chance, or you managed to. I'm describing to you my situation. Okay, I'm not talking about me. I love eating. Okay, I'm admitting it. I like food. When I go on a plane, I'm very excited because I'm going to get my sandwich and I'm going to eat it as a geschmack, whatever it is. I'm going to make sure it smells from tuna the entire plane. Fine. Good. I'm going to run to the store. Meanwhile, my Uber is waiting. I'm late to the airport because I never go on time. I'm going to get on the line, and meanwhile, the guy's not making the bagel, and I'm going to miss my flight because this lady, 3 people ahead, is draining a cup because she needs low-fat cream cheese, and it put too much, and this and that. She's making the guy, because of that, no sandwich, run to the airport, hungry like who knows what. You know, in the airport, they have these stores that have SIBO, that have kosher sandwiches, that you should know that. So you run in there, and you're hungry, and you're going to get revenge at the lady and at everybody, and not only you're going to catch the plane and catch a sandwich too, okay? Because you're not going to eat the terra chips the whole train. You can eat something normal, okay? So you run in there, and they're out of the kosher sandwiches. They do have one, but it's OUD, or the OU, the hechsher is not exact. Okay, I would never eat. I'm just giving you the idea. And now your entire being is being. You just want to, and you say, you know what? Okay, I'm hungry. I didn't have my sandwich, and under such circumstances, you know, nicht gefährlich. So now you're standing, and you have to nullify your entire will for God's will. It's to walk out of the store and buy the silly, I don't want to say another word, banana that's there, and eat that instead of what you were like all excited about, and fly in a 6-hour flight and be miserable and frustrated. But you know what? You took your entire existence and you nullified it. And you know what? At this moment, you generated the cosmos from the highest place. Because when you nullified your I, at that moment, you caused the Eibishter to. Why did you nullify your will? For God's will. So what does the Eibishter do corresponding to that? He nullifies his expression of who he is to keep the world. And it's from those moments of surrender. It's from those little moments of surrender that happen all across the world. Jews every day having you really want to do something or say something, and at that moment you say no, and you don't answer back, or you don't, hit back, or you don't, whatever it is that it is, or do something you really, really want, and like God ruined it for you. Like sometimes you get upset. Like he could have made the line go a little faster. He could have, but he did. So you're upset at him too, and yet you still do it his way. Sorry, you have to put up with my mishagas, but I just have to share that. Through you being mevatel your ratzon for the Eibishter, what happens? You're causing that. So what are you bringing? You're causing the yud to emerge from the pre-yud, the chachma, the first nikuda, the first point of existence to begin. But kiyesh beis bitulim. And I'm dafka giving this example. You'll wonder, why am I giving such a grubban example, such a coarse example? Couldn't I find a little bit more of an edela example of nullifying a will? Why do we have to talk about that sandwich? And the answer is no. A Jew has a deeper nullification to God, deeper than that. But that deeper nullification is on the level of the kutzei shel yud. We're trying to generate the yud, not the kutzei shel. So there is a higher nullification where you're just totally surrendered to God, just on the deepest inner higher place. That bittul is a bittul of keser that a Jew has to the Eibishter. But the Rebbe is going to explain in a few moments. That's beautiful. That dimension of soul is not inside the struggle. It's above the struggle. Over there, there's no klipa. When you're in that place, it's like the Alter Rebbe says, when you're having a Nisayon al Kiddush Hashem, someone wants to make you, shmad yourself, that you want to. It's unthinkable. You enter into a place within you that klipa doesn't exist. Only Eibishter exists. So at that moment, it's not like you're making a choice. You're not struggling. You're not surrendering. There isn't like the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya that a Jew will be meiser nefesh. He uses the words, "Bili shum tam umayna klal." There isn't even a debate. But what are you talking about? There's no way I'm going to go and bow down to the cross. There's no way I'm going to give my life up. At that moment, you're in tune with your Keser Sheba Nefesh. So you're not activating Yud, you're stimulating Keser. And we're going to see soon that too needs to be activated. That bittul is also, but that's on a higher level. He's saying now a level where there is still an inyan of tension. It could have gone the other way. You could have given into your Yetzer Hara. It's not like, you could have eaten that sandwich. You could have made yourself a heter. You could have said, I'm tired, I'm going to go to sleep before I finish my chitas. It's not like, but yet you're going to say, you know what, I'm not doing it. So there is a yeah and a no, but why are you doing it? It's not like you're doing it because you sat down and you meditated and came to a logical, reasonable understanding that God is so great and worth it that you should give up. No. It's like, it's from a place higher than reason, but it's not your essence of essence. It's somewhere in between. It's your chachma that's being active. It's your bittul to the Eibishter. No matter what, I'm bittul to the Eibishter. I'm doing it God's way. As opposed to even a higher level where it's not even a debate, it's not even a question. So that's what he says. Ki yesh beis bitulim. There's two levels of bittul. Ha'echad bekutzay shel yud. There is a bittul that's in the koitz shel yud. L'maylam and adas, where a Jew is, it's beyond all knowledge. Einay roitze beteva lipared. A Jew doesn't want naturally to be separated from God. But you can't really call that a choice. It's your nature. When someone provokes you on that place, you can't do it. I'll give you an example. Someone will offer you a lot of money to tell a lie. Okay. I'm not saying you're going to say the lie. And maybe you will be very strong, and even for a lot of money, you won't tell a lie. But a lot of money, you can do a lot of good with the money. It's only a lie. Everybody tells lies anyways. It's not the first person who's going to lie. It's a lie. It's actually not even a total lie. It's a little bit true. There is a back and forth. There is a discussion. What happens if someone orders you a lot of money to go in, God forbid, into someone's house in the middle of the night and shoot and kill the whole family? They give you a lot of money. Nothing to talk about. It's not even, no consideration, there's no talk, because that you can't do. It's your nature, I'm not even saying your holy nature, it's just, you cannot do that. So the Rebbe says like this, in our connection to the Eibishter, there's these various different levels. There's a certain dimension where you're provoking so deep, where you cannot, that he can't do. And there is a place where you could. It's a consideration. You're not going to do it. Why are you not going to do it? Because you're bottled to the Eibishter. Bottled itself. So that's the first level is, it's your nature. And the second bittul is bechachma. What's the bittul? Batel ritzayncha. You're mevatel your desire. Bechachma v'das. It's more of a conscious decision. Ki inyan batel ritzayncha. The idea of chachma, hu levarer hatoiv min hara, is to do a biur. In other words, you have an nefesh Bahamas now that's screaming sandwich. I'm hungry. I don't care about anything. I want to eat that. That's your state. You have to be mevarer that, and you have to identify, no, I am not, that this nefesh Bahamas is not married to Klippa. This nefesh Bahamas is married to the Eibishter. And therefore, I'm making a biur. I'm shaking off the confusion about my nefesh Bahamas. The Raz being rejected, I'm siding with Toiv. So and whenever that's happening, there is a struggle because you have to slice off a piece. The moment before the Nisayan, before you had that test, it was conceivable within you, within the person, that the Ra and the Toiv were mixed together. That it's possible that you will identify with the Klippa strong enough that you're willing to forsake God for a moment and do this to let down on your, let's say, I'm saying especially if it's not a question of kashrus. Let's say it's a question just on a hidur you took upon yourself or some real higher standard. So, oh, well, I'm willing, that means that the Ra is emes, chas v'shalom. But if you're saying no, now that you came to that Nisayan, and you said no, you chopped off that Ra from your Nefesh Abamis, and you identified with Toiv. That Biur happens in Chachma. The bittul that a Yid has to the Eibush, the Chachma of his Nefesh Elikis, steers the Jew to be bottled to the Eibush. And v'abittul abeis b'Chachma battle, ki inyan battle ritzayin chu levarer atoiv min hara, b'chinas birurim. U'b'Chachma is beriru, and in Chachma the Biur happens. Shadei ha-Chachma mevarer, through that Chachma, through that bittul that you have, you're mevarer. Ma she'enkin b'kutzei shel Yud. When you're in a state of higher than the Yud, shehu l'mayla min adas, which is higher than the das, sham adayan ein ra klal. Then you're in a place where there is no ra. So there's no nisayan, so you're not doing a Biur. A Biur can only happen. That's why it's possible that two people are in the same place and in the same situation, and one of them is doing a Biur in that place, and the other one is not doing a Biur, even though they're just as holy, godly, because they're in a place where this Nisayan is not a Nisayan for them. So they're not in the arena of the Ra and the Toiv mingling together, even though they physically find themselves at the same table, or physically find themselves looking at that same sandwich, or physically, you know what I'm saying? But for this person, there's no Biur happening. But for the other guy, it is a Biur, because they're within that place. So the Rebbe is saying that the same thing is in Dargis of Nefesh. There is a place in you that most of the day I'm walking around, that place in me, the Keser in me, is in Gan Eden. It's sitting somewhere up there. It's not active. It's not in my consciousness. What I need to constantly provoke in order to be a Yerei Shamayim and do godly things and not do an Aveira is to constantly have the Chachma in my Nefesh, not the Bina, because no one holds himself back from an Aveira or doesn't sin because of, let's sit down and really see what kind of Chachma I have about the Eibishter. It's more like a strong commitment that just is against who I am. I'm not going to do that. Why? Because I'm a Jew. That's what it is. I'm a Jew. So that's your Chachma. The Rebbe is saying, on the level of Keser, there's no struggle. Ma'ashenk in Bekutzah Shel Yud. In the Kutzah Shel Yud, Shehu L'mayla min Adas. It's higher than Das. Sham Adayin Ein Rak Klal. There's no bad. V'lo Shayach Sham Biur. There's no bitter. Rak Me'etz Hadas Toivera. Only from the level of Chachma. And onward, it's Shayach to have this idea of Toivera and a Biur that needs to happen. Okay. And when a Jew has this bittul of batel ritzayncha, in which you're mevatel your ratzon, shu siluk atzmusai, person puts himself aside for God's will, and he doesn't have it his way, he's going to do it the way the Eibishter wants. Nasa b'chinas bittul v'siluk molmayla. The Eibishter also, mida keneged mida, Hashem tzilcha, Hashem is your shadow. God also, siluk, Hashem also is mevatel his true self. Leo is b'chinas helem, that the Eibishter should be mailim, should conceal on his true who he is. The Eibishter's truth that doesn't leave room for anything other else to exist. And the Eibishter then malbish himself. He clothes himself. Hashem molach geyes lavish. The Eibishter puts on that lavush, steps into our world, so to speak, to become the power and the source of all of creation. He becomes a melech and a king, and he engages the world. Ubchinas atik yoimen, and the Eibishter is atik yoimen. He's matik himself. That's the word atik. Atik means he's matik. Shu ki'inyan matik arim. He is netak. He leaves. He departs from what was. So he actually activates. I'm sorry. He activates what's called atik yoimen. The atik means he withdraws his light into himself into a state of Helen, so that there can be a gilui that's measured and not overwhelmed by God's higher presence. So now the Tzemach Tzedek is going to say, according to what we learned now, in the level of Kutzei Shel Yud, what did the Alter Rebbe say? He didn't on the level of Kutzei Shel Yud, the Alter Rebbe did, right? In a level of Kutzei Shel Yud, the Alter Rebbe did not talk about Avodah. He just said every Jew has it. He didn't speak what the Avodah is. In the level of Yud, in order to draw for the Yud, the Alter Rebbe is talking about Avodah. What's the Avodah? Through a Jew's bittul to the Eibishter, he causes the Eibishter to be mevatel his pre-Yud infinite self and come down to a nekuda, to a point, a Yud, which that Yud is going to serve as the cell, the one cell that is going to generate all of the worlds and all of creation, right? B'Yud nivra olam haba, like the entire existence created from that Yud. But the Tzemach Tzedek is going to explain that there is an avodah associated also with Kutzei Shel Yud. Because here's the thing. We're talking about for the Eibishter's Chachma to emerge. Tzemach Tzedek says, but even before Chachma, there has to be an Amshacha of Ratzain. The Eibishter has to have a desire even to want to project this thing. To create that desire is already a tremendous drop. If God is himself the way he truly is, it's not shaykh that there should be even a Ratzin that there should be a world. The Ratzon that there should be a world, even though it's not yet a world, and when I say Ratzon, it's a Ratzon there should be Chachma. That's also called a bittul. The siluk atzmusai, and he has to kiviyachol shemetzad atzmai on his own. What are you going to give? What is he going to get out of all of creation? So why should he even want it? And therefore we can say, when a yid has, through this essential bittul that a yid has deeper than the yud, higher than chacham, the kutzei shel yud bittul, then mamshichem liyasam. I don't even know what that means in daily life. What's this? Maybe it means what I spoke earlier. A yid that comes to an assign of Kiddush Hashem, where it's your essential essence of your soul emerges and says, no, I will. It's not a question. Don't bother me. I'm a Jew. Higher than Chacham. See, in Tanya, that's called, the Alter Rebbe refers to it. In Tanya, the Alter Rebbe refers to this higher level, Kutzei Shel Yud, as Chachma. When he talks about Mesiras Nefesh, that every Jew is be Moisei Nefesh, because the Koyach HaChachma that's there. But you realize when the Alter Rebbe talks about Koyach HaChachma, he talks about Emunah that's higher than Seichel. He's not talking about Chachma as an inyan of Seichel. He's talking about Chachma as an inyan of Lamayla and Seichel, as an inyan of Emunah. So the Alter Rebbe is really talking about the Kutzei Shel Yud type of Nisayan in Perek Yud Ches and Perek Yud Tes and Tanya. Here, when he spoke about a person using his Koyach HaChachma, he's definitely talking, as we spoke earlier, in a place where there is struggle, where there's possible a yeah and a no, and yet you're doing what the Eibishter wants. It's not so deep, it's not so inward. The Tzemach Tzedek is saying both these bittles are necessary in order to stimulate from above. The higher bittul brings forth the Ratzon for creation. The lower bittul brings forth the Chachma, which is actually the seed for the actual creation itself already. So mamshichem liyasam shachas hakeser v'ratzon elyon and the supernal ratzon. V'hainu al yedei b'chinas atik yoyim through atik. V'yedei habitl ratzon shebachachma, and through the bitl ratzon of chachma, mamshichem liyas geyis lavish sheyumshechu b'chinas hasayros. Remember, we want that not only should there be a ratzon, but we want the hairs to come out, which are the source of chachma. The hair are these tiny little strands. For that, you need to have a bittul of chachma. These are the meaning of nasa v'nishma. Nasa is the higher bittul, the bittul of ratzon. Nishma is, I'm going to hear, yet I'm going to choose the right thing. So the nishma has a little bit more seichel to it. So the nishma is the bittul of chachma. These are the two madregas. Both of them are bittul, but one of them is a bittul where it's out of the question, and the other one is a bittul where there is a yeah and a no and a decision to do what the Eibishter wants. But then we come, okay, that's not enough. Creation, the energy of creation, is still very, very lofty at this point. It's just a point. It's a point from which an energy, it's like at the first moment when they speak about when the universe formed, the first what do they call it? What is it called? What? Explosion, what do they call it? The Big Bang, which came about from what? They said a what? A singular what? Huh? No, they have a certain something. It's still that first whatever. There's no design yet. There's no structure. In order for the Eibishter to come down and actually manifest and create everything, it has to come from the Yud into the Hey. And the Hey is all the structure. So if that's going to happen up there, we have to make that happen down here. How do you make that happen down here? That has to do with a Yid already developing God in his mind as a full-fledged, not as just a powerful being that's your source and you have to be buttled to him, but the Eibishter that you can love and appreciate and understand his greatness and the like. Hey, you inyanis pashtus, this that the Eibishter expands in length and in breadth. Memala kolalman Mamala, I guess, is the oirech. He comes down to fill all the worlds. The soivev is probably the width that he encompasses all of the worlds. So hu b'chinas bina, this is in the level of bina. And in the neshama, what does that mean? Tshuva ilah. We know that tshuva is associated with bina. And what's tshuva? Shu b'chinas. The Eibishter, basically what's going on is like this. To cause this expansion above, what's the expansion? You want to come from the Eibishter contracting himself to an akuda, a point from where he can seed for all of creation, for all of existence, for all the spheroids, for this entire born. You realize you're not just creating the worlds. You're creating, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but you're creating the God of the worlds, which means you're creating the Eibishter to be the personality who's going to engage with this world. So you're creating God as a force, as a power of an intelligence and an emotion and all entire, that has to be manifest because the Eibishter is totally beyond that. So in order for you to do that, you need to have a similar experience within yourself, that you're taking a nakuda and you're bringing it to an espashtus. What's the nakuda? We all know, when he speaks about chachma, that a Jew has, it means you go to a simple year, the guy never did a contemplation, never did a meditation, never learned chassidus. But the Eibishter is deeply etched in his heart. Chachma, koyach ma, the Yid is bottle, he knows Eibishter. He doesn't know Eibishter more. You can't talk 2 minutes Kabbalah with him. Chassidus, Spheros, he gets a headache. He runs out, tells me, what does it say in Shulchan Aruch? I don't know what you're talking about. But he's a Yerush Shamayim. I'm talking about all the from Yidden. Not all, but so many of them that never learned any Chassidus, Kabbalah, like that. But he'll never do an Aveira. He's petrified. The Eibishter is an akuda. There's a point. Then you want to take that Eibishter and turn him into an espashtas. Or someone you can love, someone you can appreciate, someone you can be on fire about. How do you do that? You meditate on the Eibishter's greatness. You create a vast understanding that's this way, but then you take all that understanding, you bring it into your heart, that it starts impacting your emotions. And your emotion get on fire with what? With yearning and desire to cleave and bond to this God. So you took the nakuda of your nefesh, expanded. And the Rebbe is going to explain that part of that expansion and explosion and eruption of that godliness to turn into a complete, mighty, expansive, intellectual and emotional presence will come from the very hisbaininus that you're contemplating, that all of creation is only one dot that is expanding. And you realize if that's only the dot, and what's beyond the dot is totally outside of what? Of our grasp and experience and so on and so forth. So So one realizes, like, so why do I even, why is this world even interesting to me? It's so insignificant and nothing. So suddenly the person raptures with love that he wants to break out of all of it. So again, it's through the understanding of that nekuda. Let's read it inside. The al yedei tshuva again. Ubchenes tshuva bina tshuva ila. Ubchenes espashto shebelev. It's the expansion in the heart. Shebebchenas barak from that one little flash. Gilu yachachma from that gilu of chachma. Shubchenas tzimtzum, that tzimtzum. Nasa achakach eslavus, the islatos alev, becomes an expansion, an eslavus of the heart. V'simcha, and joy. It's joy and fire and passion and all of that. Shigam kein espashtus believe, which simcha is also an espashtus. Like it says, Eim abanim, the mother of the children, which is bina. Semecha is joyous. Why they tshuva momata lamayla. And when a yid has this true experience, momata lamayla, naisa lamayla, so it causes above gamkein his pashtus agilui ba'oirich v'roichet. That the Eibishter too expands from a nekuda mamala v'seiv, from the mamale into this. V'hainu al yedei v'yetzaku. Over here too, there has to be a v'yetzaku batzar lahem. In other words, it has to, the emotion is also an emotion of like feeling constricted, that's the point, and wanting to like that. You feel constricted. Why does a person feel constricted? Feel constricted because you realize that all of creation is a powerful constriction. So that's why the person, that's tshuva. Tshuva is the desire to like free oneself from the constrictions of the material narrowness of our life down here so that we can experience what's beyond and beyond. It's the experience of truth. The shahakol mokem tsar, that everything I have in my life and my existence, I feel very limited. She'eno yala aremo etes, it's only a tiny little ray. V'afil Gan Eden, and the Alter Rebbe feels claustrophobic even in Gan Eden. That's why, like, where all the tzaddikim went to Gan Eden and they're like enjoying themselves, the Alter Rebbe in entire Lakutei Torah keeps on turns Gan Eden to cheap change. Gan Eden, it's a constriction. No, don't want Gan Eden. Ich will nicht dein Gan Eden. Can't give the Alter Rebbe Gan Eden. So Chassidim used to always say that it used to be a Chassidic joke. Said, you know, you daven late, you do this, you do like this. So many Avedas. And the Kuda always was that my worst Gehenna is if I will end up in Daina Gan Eden. If I end up in this Litvische Gan Eden, this will be my worst Gan Eden, my worst Gehenna. That's Gan Eden. Doesn't want to hear another shir on Baba Basra. He wants to hear Baba Basra because he knows that in Baba Basra, in that Diuk and Tosfos, is the Eibishter. That's what he wants. But if I'm only going to hear the whole Asag of Gan Eden, what for one is Gan Eden, it's for the other not. So, Afil Gan Eden v'olam haba ein elaziv is only a ray. V'al kain, and therefore mili b'shamayim. What are you going to give me Gan Eden? You're going to sell me Gan Eden? That's tshuva. That's the Baal Tshuva. And by the way, that's why Chassidim were called Balei Tshuva. Because the whole energy of Chassidus is Gevishter. We want Getlachkeit. We want godliness. We don't want all the pleasures and all the delights of Nish dir. We want a relationship. We want you. So that's the Vav. I'm sorry, that's the Hey. That's the Bina. That's the Tshuva. Vav. And how do you take godliness further down? So all this creates Bina, Olam Nistarim, concealed worlds. In order to bring the Eibishter down, the Yud K, Vav K. So what's Vav? Vav is Limud HaTorah. Is Vav. Because Vav is the koil. The Vav is the emotions. And emotions produce koil, sound. So the Vav, who Amshach is Torah, is the Amshach of Torah. V'ahei, and behei, ubchenas ma'is ha'mitzvahs. So when a Yid, remember what did I say in the beginning of the class? When a Jew lives a Jewish life every day, it's not stam, I'm a Jew. I happen to be Jewish. Every day you wake up in the morning and you're going to activate your Yud Kei Vav Kei. Moidani is your Kutzei Shel Yud. The moment you decide not to check your emails before you go daven, and instead you're going to go daven right away, or going to go to, what are you going to do? You're going to be mevatel your own ratzon for the Eibishter's ratzon. You got your chachma, you're stimulated. You're going to daven a little bit, learn Chassidus before davening, and meditate, and try to create within yourself some kind of an expansive sense, and a yearning a little bit. Somewhere during davening, you should yearn for a little bit of a attachment. You develop the hay. Afterwards, you sit down and you learn Ashir Torah. You have the Vav. Then you run out of shul. And on the way out, you meet a guy outside in the street, needs a little help, needs a ride. And you're already rushing, because you already feel that what? I'm already so good. This guy, the schlepper, needs a ride somewhere, and I have other things to do. And I didn't even have my cheese omelet that we spoke about in the beginning yet. Now I have to go give him a ride. Oh, but if you do that, you get the final hay. Ma'aseh mitzvahs, act of a mitzvah. So then you develop the Yud Kei Vav Kei, an entire structure. Through Torah, you have the Amshacha in mitzvahs, which is the Vav going into the hay. V'hinei Vav Kei. Oh, so that's the Hamshach. Now the Alter Rebbe goes on to say something which, because one of the reasons I said I don't understand the Maimer was for the next piece, but let's see. V'hinei Vav Kei, you are the Hamshach. The Vav and the hay, the latter Vav and the latter hay, is already a Hamshacha. Hamshacha means you're drawing godliness from one level to a lower. And every Hamshacha means you're losing something as you're drawing it down. Manshin in Yud Kei, Eino Yal Yedei Hamshacha. The Yud doesn't come down to the Hay through a Hamshacha where it's losing something. Ki Yud Atzma Mizgala Behei. The Yud itself is the Hay. The relationship of Chachma and Bina, two friends that don't separate, is that the Etzem of the Yud is Nizgala in the Hay. But when you're coming to Vav Hay, you're already watering it down. It's already descending. Vav and Hay is already in the sense Amshach. What does that exactly mean? Ein sham Vav. There's no Vav in the Hay. Sha'ahei hu gilui b'chinas memalei v'soiviv. Shenasa mebchinas nekuda. The nekuda itself expands into a memala and a soiviv. Nekuda chada mebchinas hatzimtzum atzmon. Shebeloy tzimtzum, without a tzimtzum, actually is hispashtus. You can't have an hispashtus. V'atzimtzum huliyas hispashtus. The whole point of the tzimtzum is just to have the hispashtus. So it's not translating it further. It's just in order to have the intention is to have a hay. But I can't give you a hay. It's like a teacher. The teacher says he wants to teach a concept. He can't teach the concept because you're not in an expansive way because he's going to lose you. So he has to take the entire concept and bring it down to a nutshell, to a nekuda. And then open up that nekuda and develop the whole idea. So therefore the whole Mishnah contains the Gemara. But it's the same, but the whole nekuda, the whole, whatever is concentrated in the point, is that very idea is going to get into the details. As opposed to when he gives a mashal, he's already drawing it down. It's already, a mashal is already a hamshach. You're taking it from up here and you're putting it into something else. And that's already, there's a certain weakening of it. I think so. It's all one level. The same is also down here. That's the way it is up there, that the yud is the hay and the hay is the yud. Hakol inyan echad, it's one thing. Who? Meaning, in a yid's avoid, that's also one thing. The bittul that a yid has that's higher than reason. And the yizboinenus is one nekuda. Elo shakasha mizboinen begiloi mamala v'sayviv. When a person contemplates the mamala and the sayviv, the hainu eich shebchinas nekuda chada, how one nekuda nasa b'chinas ispashtus mamala v'sayviv becomes an ispashtus or mamala v'sayviv, hu b'chinas hey, that's when it's a hey. Avol kishem mizboinen alat tzimtzum. But when his concentration is more on the tzimtzum, the hainu eich shekola ispashtus urak menekuda chada. In other words, a person can have two types of hisboinenus. The bina hisboinenus is more on the on the nekuda expanding into the mamale and into the soivev. So the concentration is more on the vastness of Elikus, on the vastness of the Eibush. That's one type of Baininus. That's more the Bina. The Chachma is Baininus, is more when you're concentrating on the Nekuda and realizing that the Nekuda is just a Nekuda. All it is a Nekuda. That's connecting more to the Yud. So it's one Inyan. Comes to the place, to the Gilui of Hey. And as I mentioned, I don't really get this. Fine. Which isn't the case with the Vav. It's two separate inyanim. The Vav and the Hey, it's not that the Vav becomes the Hey. The Vav and the Hey, two separate inyanim. In addition, that the Vav is a drop down. It's lowering down what was before. It's not the very Hey itself becoming the Vav. It's from the intellect comes emotions. Emotions are not intellect. They derive from the intellect, but they're not intellect. Number two, there's another nekuda here. And that is that emotions and speech are two separate inyanim. Emotions are enclosed in speech. Emotions motivate speech. Emotions give energy and power to speech. But the oisias themselves are not the emotions. The oisias are set modes of expression that a person has. The emotion, the love that a person has doesn't create the words. You're taking words that exist, you're taking letters, you're imbuing them with an emotion. So this is a chayus for something else. So the vav, the hey is not the vav. They're two separate in yonim. Ma she'enkin vav hey, havav hu amshachas hakoil hamachaber amidos ela hey, hu b'chenas hadibur, which is the speech. Liois b'chenas oisiois v'diburim. The vav is the coil that takes the emotions that excite speech, that you should put it into words. The dibur is in accordance to the midos. In ba'ava, out of love. The dibur itself is a mahus onto its own. It's a combination of letters. The vav is drawn into that. That speech should come. That there should be a connection between the dibur and the emotions. Once you're coming into Malchus, Alma Dizgalia, the world of speech, you're dealing with a new Mahus. That's Mamish creation. Yud Kei Vav Kei. All of this is what the Yud Kei Vav Kei of a tzaddik. All of this is the Yud Kei Vav Kei of someone who's learning Torah and doing mitzvahs and being a Yid the way he should. Beginning with the essential core bittul on two levels. Kutzei shel Yud the bittul, more decision bittul, where you can go both ways and you're deciding because of your bittul to the Eibishter. And then the expansion of Bina, which is the idea of tshuva. And then Limud HaTorah and observance of mitzvahs. You have a Yud Kei Vav Kei. This is all the Eibishter, as the Eibishter is already projecting himself into Netzalim, into a image of the Netzalim, of the emanations. When the pasuk says that God loves you, that's much, much deeper. That's not taking place on the level of projections, of spheroids, of attributes. That's much, much essential. Okay, and here's these words. The Rebbe is learning that the taich of ki ahevcha Hashem lekecha can mean two things. Ki ahevcha Hashem lekecha means because God loves you. But ki ahevcha Hashem lekecha means the Eibishter puts love into you. That you love the Eibishter with the love that God put into you. Ki ahevcha, the Eibishter hadir balipt. The Eibishter in love in you. He fills you with love. Ahevcha. He empowers you with love that you can serve him with a godly love, not with a human love. All of this is considered your koiches of your nefesh. You would think this is also your God, the Eibishter gave. Yeah, but this is once the Eibishter made your neshama. This is your koiches of your neshama. But in addition to that, the Eibishter infuses into a neshama godliness that's higher than the neshama. And that an ability to love the Eibishter with a much godlier kind of a love. And where does it come out? In a Baal Tshuva, as we're going to see. Higher than the whole Yud Kei Vav Kei, what? Even than the Ava Mesuteres. Because the Ava Mesuteres, in other words, the concealed love. It seems like this entire structure of what's it called again? Of Yud Kei Vav Kei and in Benefesh and all Koiches HaNefesh have a parts of Chitzayni and a parts of Pnimi. And everything we discussed till now is on all levels, but it's a parts of Chitzayni. It's an external parts of, which is holding in a much deeper parts of on all these levels where they're all far more essential. It's not a certain image projected, it's just the essence. Number one, the Eibishter is drawing into you love. And he says, one is to connect into the other. Because he enlovens you, that's why he loves you. Or the opposite, because he loves you, he imbues you with his love. Either way. But this becomes these are the Eser Sfiros that are in the Matzel himself. It's almost like when you take a stamp or a seal, you create the seal and your signet, your seal that comes out. Let's see, it's a seal of the state of California. So there is the seal when the seal is imprinted, and the imprintment of the seal is on the stationery. But then there is the seal as it is in the seal itself. So these are the difference. In the Eser Sfiros of Atzilus, the Eibishter imprints his powers. These are his powers as he becomes the master of creation. And in that, we are the other side, we match up with him. But it's still an inyan. But then there is the way these things are part of the Eibishter's etzem. Eser Sfiros, the Adam Kadmon, basically. He's dealing with Eser Sfiros in primordial man on a much, much deeper inner level. The ayin barabbis kisisa. Now, if we're not supposed to understand, if we don't understand whatever we learned earlier, how in the world are we supposed to know what this means? But okay. The ayin barabbis kisisa reish parsha. Ma tama be'inya v'oyeves Yaakov. Not my timer. Reish perik mem tes. My timer. See, that's how much I know what he's talking about here. Reish perik mem tes, in the beginning of perik mem tes. Be'inya v'oyeves Yaakov. Ubeseder vayeshev reish perik pevav. Shira shirim rabba seif parsha simani kachoisem. Ubepasik Maayon rabbi seif parsha sishpati eschem. Seif pasuk on him. Minyan hafti eschem. It's a much deeper love. Zoya Chodesh Gimel v'Eschanon B'Tana Deve'Eliyahu Ayim Asher Kasav D'Ramaschal V'Yar Yisroel Parshas B'Shalach Be'inyan Sheyesh Beis B'Chinoi Shemes Havaya. This is the two names. We know there's Havaya D'Liela and Havaya D'Latata. Havaya D'Liela is in a more expressed external state, and Havaya D'Liela is in a more engraved level. One Havaya is in the Zeir Anpin, and one is in Atik Yomin. V'Alderech Zeh Yuven Kan, and that's a similar idea. But here as well, guess what? Even in this deepest, most fundamental inner, in order for this inyan to be revealed by the Eibishter, it's there in essence, but in order for it to be highlighted and uncovered in God, it's dependent on we uncovering our essential Yud Kei Vav Kei, not in a manner of expression, but in a manner of essence. How is that? And it works the other way. When there's an Esaidus above, it evokes it by us. That's what we learned last week. Through the Haroya B'Sheshanim, the Eibishter shining down his roses, it evokes this deep place inside of us. Umisham, and dafka from this more inner place of Eser Sfiros, as they are etched in Adam Kadmon, as they are in this deep inner place, dafka from there, can the Averis themselves be turned into mitzvahs? Zedoinus nasa kezochias. can sins become merits. What's the explanation of the matter? Kine. Liyois tshuva b'shem Yudkei. For tshuva is in the name of Yudkei. Hagam shenimshach kach malmayla lamata makol makam adam shu makusha lamata ech yachal lava lezeh. I know what he means by that. Tshuva we know is tashuv hay. And we know that tashuv hay means two hays, the lower hay and the upper hay. Maybe that's what he's referring to. So even though this is an inyan that's drawn from above down, I don't know what he means by that. But the person down here that is connected in a body and down here below, how can he even relate to such tshuva? Through the b'chol moedecha. He says the entire avodah that we discussed earlier is b'chol levavcha, b'chol nafshecha. Is with all your heart and with all your soul. It's not touching on b'chol moedecha with all your might. We're dealing with a certain intensity. The difference between what we learned earlier and now is one inyan: intensity. We have all the programming going on before, but it's lacking the intensity. The intensity is here. And why is it so intense? It's intense because it's negaya to your very being. And where is it negaya to a very being, as he's going to say in a moment, is dafka someone who feels like his life is ruined. Someone who's been to, as we said earlier, been to hell in terms of horrible spiritual darkness and whatever kind of deep pain. And it's dafka from that kind of a pain does one expose this deepest, intense, everything, intense bittul, intense love, intense Torah, intense mitzvahs. It's all with this an intensity. So you're not dealing with something different. It's the same thing, but with a certain intensity that's negaya to your very being. Al yedei b'chol moedecha lotzes min hakeli shaloi. Arois came from the keli. Hagam shalagabe b'chinish. Now the Rebbe says, now even though is that really believable? Is that really infinite? Even when you're going out of your kelim, you're still you, and you're still operating within a certain amount of energy. Hagam shalagabe b'chinish shalamayla mamena, to someone that's on a higher level. Gam oir avezu, even this light that you're having that's blowing out of your vessels. Who b'chinas keli is still a keli. Ach makom makom lamata, down here you have to have a resemblance to the inyan up there. Tzarech lios b'chol ma'oidcha ma'oid shalach. It has to be outside of your ma'oid, outside your much more than what your kelim. V'hinei b'chol ma'oidecha mizgala b'bal tshuva. This b'chol ma'oidcha reveals itself dafka. B'chol ma'oidecha reveals itself dafka by a penitent, by a bal tshuva. Dafka al yedei azedainis, and dafka through averis. Shodu al yedei ha'epach. It's dafka when a person feels that he's being, God forbid, suffocated by what's opposite of godliness. Here is where dafka, people that have a lot of pain and a lot of darkness in their life, are able to come out and stimulate and to create like tikkunim and revelations of such on such deep places that the biggest tzaddikim can't even dream of going. Shehu al yedei ha'epach, dafka through being stuck in inyanim that are the opposite of holiness. Ike'inyan be'eretz lo yizarua. In a land where the planting in this land is so high, this land you can't plant it with a positive deed. You can only plant it with a negative deed. That means with a rejection of negativity. Sha'al yedei loy, through every, in other words, what's the seeds to cause this land to grow forth on this such a deep level of the Eibishter, to cause from there something to grow, something to emanate? You have to plant a no, you can't plant a yeah. And planting a no is a rejection of Shal Yadei Lo Yun Israel, the inyan, and the idea is. So it says in Chassidus, Ki Shemiyim Yudkei Shasa. But the Ramach Mitzvah Saseh is associated with Zichri, with Hashem's remembrance. Shemi, together with Yudkei, is Gematria 365. So Chassidus says that you see from here that Loisa says the not doing an Avera is higher than doing a mitzvah. So, but it's a little different. Here we're talking about a tzaddik. In a tzaddik himself, the positive deeds that a tzaddik does, the positive mitzvahs, are not as great as when the tzaddik rejects and doesn't do an Avera. Let's say in a case where he had a temptation or whatever kind of an Avera, he doesn't do it because always the no is higher than the yeah. That's in the world of Kiyum HaMitzvahs. Similar to that, there is a entire avodah that also comes from no. But there we're not dealing with fulfilling the lois say by not doing it, but chas v'shalom, the person did the avera and he's rejecting it because he tasted death and he doesn't want it. He wants to shal lois say l'mayla menaseh lefi shal yedei kiyum lois say shehu akiras haratzei. And what's a lois say? I have a ratzei. I really want to do it, but no, I'm not going to do it. That kind of intensity that you only have in order to do something, you don't have to be so intense. Uprooting a powerful desire for something and not doing it. So imagine that intensity of uprooting a ratzon is when someone did the Aveira already and he wants to uproot what he did because he realized that thing I messed my whole life up, and he wants to he wishes he can pull back time and he wishes he can uproot that completely. That intensity of Akira Saratzin for the Eibishter's sake is more even in the Baal Tshuva than in the Tzaddik. He reaches b'chol ma'oidcha, b'chinas mesiras nefesh, and a mesiras nefesh. Hem b'poil mamish, like in the literal sense, kamaisa Rabbi Elazar ben Derdaya, like the story of Rabbi Elazar ben Derdaya who did tshuva. The Gemara tells the story. He was a very big sinner, and when he finally realized what a sinner he was, he started crying and he put his head down on his knees, and he cried so much till he died. Or it's mesiras nefesh in davening. When a person is crying to the Eibishter because he's in pain, on his distance from God. On this idea is foundation of all of davening. To come to the v'hafta by the Shema, and to come to a b'chol moedecha. Dafka through this b'chol moedecha, zedoinus nasas kezachiyos. Then one can take even the sins and switch it to merits. Shamimamakim krasicha, because this reaches mimamakim, such a deep place. Krasicha, I've called you forth. What does that mean? Kedechashoicha. It's the depth of darkness. Why? Because if you're calling from such a deep place in your soul, it's ma'orer, a very deep place above. Earlier we say that where are we touching upon? Through the bittul. He started his entire inyan where we began that a person's avoid is affecting. It's all on the level of here. We want to be mamshech to here. We want to cause the Eibishter to lower himself down into Chachma. And where did we learn? Where does Chachma derive from? From the Eibishter here. So we want to cause the Eibishter to be mitzamtzim himself and only allow a little here. But now the avodah is you don't want to be mamshech to here. You want to be mamshech to Galgoles itself. Ki amoichin Chabad, because what? Isn't that going to know? In a sense, the Baal Tshuva lives in the world of Lachashiv. The Baal Tshuva is Megala, not the Killa Chashiv. The Baal Tshuva, and that's why the Baal Tshuva, in a sense, is in a state of Ratzai without Shuv. He's in a little bit in the world of Tayu. He's a little bit in that realm. That's why it says the Eibishter created the world not for the Baal Tshuva. He created the world for the sake of tzaddikim, not for the avodas of Baal Tshuva. The avodah of the Baal Tshuva is necessary where there's a chisaron in light. And you have to be mamshech something that's in 1 second going to be misaken all the tikkunim and everything. So you have to get to the unfiltered, and the Baal Tshuva touches upon that, reveals that. And that does overwhelm the system, but I guess enough in a good way that because the Moichen, Chachme bin Adas, and Begimel Chalola, the Gilgalta, are in the three hollows of the Gilgolas of the skull. V'aleim Choifef, HaGilgalta, and on top of them is the Gilgolas, the skull. Shemaylam Umastir, which blocks Shalo Yegilui Kiyam Derech Cyrus, which only come through the hair. V'ayadei B'chol Moedecha, and through the B'chol Moedecha, the Mashchen Le B'chele Yatir, which the mile of the Baal Tshuva is like the Zohar says. They're pulling God with an intensity, with added vigor. Baal L'Bchinas Mimamakim, you come to the Omek, to the depths. V'yesh, and it doesn't really explain, but L'churi, he means the Golgolas itself. V'yesh Yud Oimkim, and there are 10, there's 10 days, Aseres Yemei Tshuva. Each day is an avodah of Oimek, Dahainu Keser Shebachol Bechina Meyut Sfiras. Usually we're operating from within the Yud Sfiras. On Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, we're touching the Keser of every Sfira, at its very, very quintessential source. And Keser is Etzem. It's part of Atzmos himself. It's at that place where we're stimulating the Sfiras. V'hine Yud Sfiras Hanetzalim, the 10 Sfiras that are already emanated, Shekvar Boili De Giloi, that they already came to a state of revelation and manifestation, Derech HaCyrus, by means of the hair, Sham Hoya Achizas V'yanikas HaKlipas. The 10 Spheroids are the source for all of creation and all of existence, and therefore for all experiences. Eventually, for example, one of the spheres is love. Eventually, from that love can come unholy love, and can come sinful love, and eventually that feeds the klipas. So the klipas then get a connection to the love and to the energy of chesed, and through their chutzpah, through the person letting them in, they can kind of work their way all the way up to have some kind of a yanika, even in Atzilus, and even in the spheroids in the highest levels, they get a chip. They send a chip upstream. All they need to send is one little chip, and then they have a bug. Once they have their bug, they and their computer chips down here are able to steal all that energy from the deepest, highest, godliest sources and become very high in power. But where do they have access to? Only from the hair and onward, from the spheres of it. Beyond that, they have no yanika. And that's why in order to fix things, you need to get to beyond that hair, to that, beyond that big barrier, the great, what is it called? The great reef, the great barrier that's just, or the Great Wall of China. It's that great barrier that no one passes there. From that place, one can refresh the entire system. Something like that, he says. Again, as I told you, it's hard to really... And that's why it says, when you take a girl, Parshas Seitzei, next week's Parsha, when a person marries one of these, a Gentile woman, finds her in war, she should clip her nails, see, because from the nails and from the hair, and her hair, because ultimately they have a relationship to the hair. From the back of the hide of Malchus, Bein Guma Laguma, between hair and hair, is where they steal their energy in. The truth is they can't impact the lights, the oir. The oir is pure godly, but they can lodge themselves and derive energy from the kelim. V'loy ba'oir is atzma. They can't chas v'shalom contaminate the lights. Aval makoma k'mohoru malubish b'kelim. Once the oir is malubish in the keli, so via the keli, they're already they're already messing with the oir. Shemachiza v'yanika. That's why there can't be a total forgiveness and a wiping clean, and a washing, to cleanse the sins. Washing and cleansing has to come from way above, from the depth of darkness, from the 10 spheroids that are etched in the emanator himself. From that deep place, Krasicha, I call you forth, as I spoke earlier about repiping, to bring down a whole new avaya, from a place that's so deep, From a place where that light never came to revelation. That means that every year, your tshuva needs to be deeper than last year. It has to come from a more core place than the year before. How do you get deeper every year? Because the place of last year, the place you opened up last year, got already, you gave access to that through the mess up. So it's not like every year you just hopefully you get back to the same place every year Rosh Hashanah. You have to go even more bare bones, even more bare your soul to like, how deep can you go? Your soul is infinite. And it was never enclosed in kelim. And dafka through that level of b'chol ma'odcha, because on that place there is oiros and there's no kelim yet. Kadaskafya sitra achra, when the sitra achra is subdued, istaluk yikara the kutshaberichu, istaluk pirish, istaluk shenesroimim lamayla, really, really high, b'pchenas atik yoimim, in the level of atik yoimim, hamatik harim, v'amisnasem yamois oilam, he rises above the days which are the spheres. Tahainu b'pchenas helam, in a very, very core, essential, concealed place, umisham nimshach b'chenas havaya machadash. And from that place, you draw forth a new Havaya. Gilui Havaya shalifnei Atzilus. The Gilui of Havaya that's before and prior to Atzilus. V'zeu v'achzirenu b'tshuva shalema lifanecha. Let me get to your pnimius. Return me to a complete tshuva lifanecha, into your pnimius, in the deepest, innermost of you, God Himself. Lifanecha lifnei Havaya shabatzilus. Deeper than Havaya of Atzilus. Sheshamu b'chenes tshuva shalema. That's real tshuva. Kenis kalil, as we said earlier. V'hinei b'amshachas yud oimkim b'chol aseres yimei tshuva. So when we draw down these 10 oimkim every day, we go oimek and oimek and oimek in each sphera. When finally Yom Kippur comes, lifnei havaya titaru. You're standing in front, above and higher than all manifestations of Yud Kei Vav Kei, which are the very, so basically you're reaching a level of Eibishter and a level of creation, so to speak, that never existed, that never was, and from there you're recreating, and that's a complete clean place. Lifnei Havaya Titaru, V'hu b'ne'ilah shebesoif hayoim machaber. And when does the ultimate kapara come? When does that place open up? All Elul and all 10 days of tshuva, we're peeling down to that very deep place. But we finally reach that place by the last prayer of Yom Kippur, by Ne'ilah. The prayer that comes right by the time when the sun is setting. Isa b'Mishnah, Perek, Beis Tuf decreases. I'm not sure what the Rosh Hashanah stands for. Mi shaba al yodai safek avera b'yom kippurim. If someone had a safek avera on Yom Kippur, the question over there is a doubt if he did an avera. And the halach is you have to bring an asham tolo. You have to bring a special carbon asham, which you bring. But if it happened on Yom Kippur, afilu im chashecha, even if it happened right before it got dark, putter your putter, because it's that time when it's going from light to darkness, those very last moments of Yom Kippur. Shekol hayoyim mechaper, the entire day, you don't need the whole Yom Kippur, the entire day is a kapara, and be'ikr shemeschapaloi b'seif hayoyim, at the end of the day. Shehu ha'ikr, because that's the ikr. She'az uzman ne'ilah, that's the time of Nila. Iloi ha'malchus bekeser. That's when Malchus arises into the deepest place. Malchus is the Shekhinah, Knesset Yisroel, all the Jewish souls. We rise higher and higher and higher into the deepest, deepest, deepest recesses of God's heart, into Keser. Ilu she'ein lamayla menoi, a elevation that's not possible any higher. V'nikra lifnei avaya, it's prior to any projections or any manifestations of Yud Kei Vav Kei. V'as titaru, and over there you become pure. Shemisham nimshich tahara, from there comes purification. Urechitza, and a cleansing. V'chol ha'avonos mischaprim, and all sins are forgiven. And the Eibishter doesn't have any grudges, and he's not upset. He's forgiven everything. And he's happy, and he loves you, and he can't wait to get into your sukkah. I'm Ashakasa b'makam achar al pi azoyer chodesh parshas Emoy be'inyan eskafia v'eshapcha sheb'chinas eshapcha nimshach mamoichen de'ema eskafia ach b'shabish u'moichen de'aba nimshach liyas eshapcha chashulchan aruch. In order to convert darkness to light, it needs to come from a higher place. From Bina comes eskafia. To switch darkness to light, you have to come from a higher place. But he says that's regular Shabbos. Yom Kippur is called Shabbos Shabbosai. So he says the regular Shabbos converts the darkness of Noga to Kedusha. All the Nitzutze Kedusha that were part of Noga, to convert them to Kedusha doesn't happen during the week, it only happens on Shabbos. But not sins, only permissible things of the week. Sins, they come from Sholosh Klipas Atmeyas. That Shabbos can't rectify it. You need Shabbos Shabbosai, which is we're going deeper and deeper, higher than Moichen Da'aba. We're going into the innermost of Keser, and Dafka from there can come that tikkun. That's why Dafka, her father, can annul, because only from father, the level of father, can annul the vows. All this is an ishapcha of the darkness of klipas noiga, where the animal soul of a person that's a mixture of good and bad. But when you have tshuva, which is done b'chol moedecha, which is the aseris yemei tshuva, and be'ikar yom kippur, sins, and not just sins, intentional sins, that are from a place much, much, much darker than Noga, Yanasim Kizachiyas, that they too should become merits. Zehu inyan vayahafech es haklala. The Eibishter converts the curse itself, mamish lebracha. It converts the sins themselves. So not only does Hashem not listen to the accusing angel, that he doesn't accept it, he takes the very, very, very bags of sins that the accusing angel is and turns it into merits. Yaakov was wrestling with the Malach. It says they were, Vaya'avik means they were entangled, but Chazal also say Vaya'avik also means they were kicking up dust. And it says that as dust reached the Kisei HaKavod. So what does that mean? Yaakov and Esav struggling represents the Jew struggling his entire life with the Yetzer Hara. Through tshuva, even the dust, which doesn't have any chayos, it's the lowest. The Gemara says that you can't even use that. No, you could use dust. Even dust can be used for kisoy hadam, because it's not real afar, it's not real dirt. Earth has a power. It's just dust, but still it has a tiny little bit of chayas in it, but very, very minute. Al kapanim, it's the bottom in you. And to be able to lift the dust itself to the Kisei HaKavod is the idea of Zedainis, the sins themselves. Shehelu avak at Kisei HaKavod. Shagam b'chenes avak. The shtar menura. It's the last level that's left over from a fire, the burnt ashes. That's nothing. Shua madrega tachtoina shebeklipas. It's the lowest levels of klipas. Neskala lamayla b'Kisei HaKavod. Jews that do tshuva elevate the darkest things that are the leftover klipa shebeklipa. And even these, there is a spark there is a nitzutz cotton shebekotton, and that can be elevated only through tshuva. V'zeh b'chenes tshuva. This is tshuva. And that's why the sages say, Gedoyle tshuva shemegas at Kisei HaKavod. It reaches to the Kisei HaKavod, Malchus Tatzilas. What does it mean? It takes the sparks and it includes them in holiness, in Malchus of Atzilas, which is called Kisei HaKavod. Shua Nikra Bracha, and that's what it means. Vayahafech, Hashem converts the Klippa Libracha to be included in the Shechina. These nitzuts become part of Bracha. Malchus is called Bracha. Vayahafech Hashem as Klippa Libracha. Klippa becomes Kedusha, becomes godliness. The darkest sins that a person did becomes a holy thing, becomes a godly entity. Obviously, the spark in it. That even the Malach of Esav, meaning even the effects that the Yetzer Hara did, also gets elevated. I think that's what he means. V'zeu sheyom HaKippurim nikra Shabbos Shabbosin, a double Shabbos. Afilu legabe Shabbos hu b'chinas Shabbosin. Even to Shabbos, it's a Shabbos. Ki Shabbos, what does Shabbos mean? The question is, Shabbos is called Shabbos because Shabbos means the energies of creation that are projected outward return back. Like a person during the week, when a person works, you invest your energies outward. And when you rest, you allow all your kochos to retract back into yourself. So that's Shabbos. Shabbos, the Eibush, during the week, God projects his energy outward. Shabbos, he allows himself, his energies to return back into himself. In other words, from a more manifest state to a more personal state. But on Yom Kippur, the Eibush returns more to a more core self. It's necessary so that we can refresh everything from a very, very deep core. We can operate, but obviously the only way we can attach ourselves to that place is if we're operating from a very core place within ourselves. We're deep. In order to be deep, we have to work all the month of Elul. The point of it is you have to really work with your heart. Problem is, most of us don't even realize we have a Jewish heart. Because it's so, we know we have a heart that desires all the other stuff. So if during the month of Elul we refrain a little bit from allowing our heart, our non-kosher heart, to be so active, so we remove some of those layers, so suddenly when Rosh Hashanah comes, we feel our Jewish heart. And when we feel our Jewish heart be'etzem desires, and adarab, we can suddenly experience all the pain that we've been carrying. Because deep inside, our soul is aching for all our mishigas. It's just that we never get into contact with it. So if you do the avodah and elul to create a little space, just remove the junk. That's all you need. Just remove the junk. Remove the junk, you clean, so that you feel your Jewish heart, and then you allow your Jewish heart to do the rest. Jewish heart is able to cry and say, "Eibush, I want to come back home to you." Oh, that's what stimulates all this. And but here, ki Shabbos, Shabbos lavaya, 6 days of creation, the Eibush is contracting himself into the name of Elokim. And Shabbos is returning to Havaya. The Shabbos is Gala Shem Havaya, Moichen Da'aba. V'chachma Tichya. Shu b'chinas Yud Shem Havaya. It's the Yud. U'mezen nimshach sheyachal yises hapcha chashuch l'nehura. You can take all the sparks of holiness and elevate them. But that's all the permissible things during the week become holy on Shabbos. Moichen Da'aba hu b'chinas Atzilus. Moichen Da'aba is still Atzilus. Im keinu Shem Havaya sheben etzalim. Even though it's Shem Havaya, it's the Shem Havaya of the emanations. You're converting the darkness of Noga to light. In order to convert the curse that's much lower than Klipas Noiga, which is deep, dark Klipas, lebracha to blessing, one has to reach higher than the Havaya of Atzilus. We have to reach into the Shem Havaya of the essence of the Eibishter himself. And that's Yom Kippur, that's called Shabbos, returning to the very, very core beginning. Which we learned one day a long time ago, all these memorim. The Eibush should bless you all. We should be able to have the deepest Aseres Yemei Tshuva, the deepest Elul, and a revelation from the other end as well. We should already have the Kohen Gadol do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash and the Kodesh HaKadoshim, so we can see Lifnei Havaya to Torah. L'chaim. And I don't understand anything I just told you, but okay. For commentary, you have to speak to Ne'ima.